All right, we're live. Looks like we're rocking and rolling. Good to see you tonight, everybody, and thank you, Toddie, for coming tonight.
Thanks for
How you
having
doing?
me, Kathy. I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All right, cool. Me too. So we're gonna talk about why I think Eric hasn't been arrested, and because I think it will make people feel a little bit better, maybe.
Right.
Because it's very frustrating to see Patrick being charged with 11 felonies when he seemed to me, and I've mentioned that he seems the small fish in the pond. He seemed to me like he was, you know, just a. Not, I said it, and I don't mean to be real offensive, but he was the useful idiot in Eric's plan. He was the one that went along and made Eric's plan happen unwittingly. You know what I mean? Um,
Yes.
yeah.
And
So
he,
I
he
think
was also the easier one, unfortunately, to get for
Mhm.
reasons, like he's in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he's in West Virginia, where Eric's out of the state. And also, you brought up a lot of things. I don't know how much you're gonna get into, but you brought up a lot of things where there's a lot more to probably get on Eric. There's a lot less to get on Patrick. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Patrick's yeah, I don't think Patrick's bad behavior like this existed beyond the Whitakers. You know what I'm saying? Where I think
Right.
Eric's questionable. It's questionable. Eric's stuff has been brought out now. It's questionable. It's concerning to him because he's commenting on it.
Right. And I think it all kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm going to say tonight
I'm
about.
excited. I can't wait. I asked to be
Mhm.
on here because when
Yeah.
Kathy was
Uh,
explaining to me what was going on, I was like, "Oh, Kathy, that makes a lot of sense, and I think that would make a lot of people feel better,
yeah.
because it's sensible." So yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I just want to say hi to everybody real quick and then we'll get started. Say it out loud. Good evening. Everybody at the story to tell. Say it out loud. Let's see. And Toddy one skip. Wow. We got them both in
that's it.
here. That's,
Am I in there both ways?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool. You're number two and number three with a crown. I'm not sure what that means. Say it
I'm
out loud
important.
as, yeah, say it out loud as a crown. Kathleen has a crown. A lot of people have crowns. I don't even know what that means. But Kathleen, good evening. Um, let me just see. I'm just going to say hi, Stacia. Milk and Honey, good to see you tonight. Jamie, Florida Life in the Sun, Alicia.
I do
Um,
want to say Florida Life in the Sun got a new sub today. I don't know if they noticed that or not. They got a special sub that doesn't sub to anybody, and they sub to you today. Did you see
wow.
that? Life in the Sun? Somebody that's
Florida,
having a
yeah,
hard time
Florida.
leaving the airport.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you get a special a subscriber today, Florida? That's funny. Yeah, because that person never subscribes to anybody. I think you're the first they've subscribed to.
I
Uh,
think so.
so Miss January, good to see you. Yeah, so check out that channel. Um, and let's see. Am I missing anybody? I hope not. Anyway, so I don't know. And Grace, thank you, Grace, for always moderating and
Yes,
uh,
thank you, Grace.
yeah, good friend and very good
And
moderator.
always showing up in my chat too. Appreciate that as well. Thank you.
All right, so I guess we'll get started. And anybody that
Hey
comes in after
Jamie.
that, I just want to say hi. Yes, to Jamie too. So we just want to say, if anybody else comes in, I just want to say, I'm not going to look at the chat for a little bit because we're going to be a little busy here. So, yeah, so tonight I'm going to go over my theory. Now, these are just theories, my thoughts, my whatever. I got no proof about nothing. So just do your own homework, okay? But this is what I've come up with. Why? Because it's very frustrating for everybody right now. And if you could understand, I said something months ago when this happened, when when Patrick got arrested. I said you got to be patient because it would be just the fact alone that that Eric is in another state is going to be federal, and it'll be, you know, um, in my opinion, it would just be a lot more detailed of, a job to, get his stuff or whatever. So I figured, but now it's been 5 months since Patrick's been arrested. People are getting like starting to lose hope that Eric will ever face justice. And I'm going to tell you, as what's happening right now is exactly what happens when there is a conspiracy, because just two people make it a conspiracy, and these are fraud charges. And another thing, people are kind of have lost track. Hey, Sarah, people have lost track of really what the charges were. Everybody's focused on, well, Patrick got the gift card sent, and Patrick got the presents, and all this, and that's why they can prove the money stuff with Patrick. Okay, put the money stuff aside. There is still 6 felonies for
Exploitation.
exploiting 6 people. Yeah, exploitation. So, I mean, and if anybody, I mean, if you look, absolutely, Patrick didn't exploit the Whitakers and Timmy any more than Eric did. I mean, if anything, I think Eric probably did more. So just
I
to
agree.
exploit, the exploiting alone, because in those reports or whatever, it said that it was they were Patrick was charged with videotaping the shortcomings of the disabled family, for financial gain. And if Eric wasn't do that, come on, Eric did it worse. I mean, look what he did with all of them.
Exactly.
Brought out the worst in everybody. Stuff we never saw with Mark. Like, good gravy. And speaking of Mark Leda, Eric could have never pulled into town and did this with Mark Leda. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, because Mark was very protective of the family. He
Right.
he went in there and he took advantage and befriended Patrick, and
Right.
he really and did exactly what, unfortunately, and I don't mean it as an insult. Patrick, the guy was just, he was sleazier. So Patrick, be grateful that you weren't as sleazy as he was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He
So
was, he
what
was
I'm
just
saying,
sleazier.
even if Mark Leda had lived down the road from Whitaker's and he started doing videos, somebody like him could not have been duped by Eric. It
Right.
had to be somebody that wasn't business savvy, that didn't
Right.
see the red flags, that maybe really, really needed money. You know what I mean? And so I think Patrick was a perfect patsy.
Well, I also think, in
Patrick
all
the patsy. Mhm.
I agree, but I also think, in all fairness, to Patrick here, and he knew, he saw the stuff about dad talking. Some of the stuff, if you don't know any better, is impressive. I'm sure he looks at it with different eyes now, knowing better of views and such like that. So,
Well, yeah,
okay,
definitely,
so
because he even said in the first interview that you said, well, I gave you a call or whatever, and what happened? He goes, well, Patrick says, well, you said you're the son of a preacher, so right there,
exactly, I was just gonna
you know
say
what I mean?
that. Right,
Top of the list. Oh, he was your son of a preacher.
right.
He fights for dad's rights. He's got 1 million subscribers. Yeah, that's somebody. It sounds like something that's legit.
And that's what I think. And I think that Patrick took him at his word.
Mhm.
And and listen, I think that Patrick's guilty of things, but I think, as I've always said, that it needs to be assigned correctly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It needs to be assigned correctly. Because I mean, I don't know. I think Patrick's intentions, and we talked about this too. I think Patrick's intentions were were much more honest. And then I think, like you said, money changes people. And
Yeah.
and
Yep.
unfortunately, that's what happened.
Yep. Money changes people. And I think with that first really big check when it was tens of thousands of dollars or whatever, I think both of them went sky high with the greed and said, hey, we don't have to pay the Whitakers. You know what I mean? This could be all ours. And I think that Patrick had basically like short-term goals, just do videos and make money. But I think Eric, personally, I believe Eric had a long-term plan in place in his head. You know what I mean? He was
Right.
10 steps ahead, right?
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
Right. Yes, Stacia says the love of money changes people. In the Bible verse, does people always think that the Bible says money is the root of all evil? No, it's actually the love of money is the root of all evil. When people love money more than other people, I mean,
Yep.
so yeah, it changes people. It makes them greedy. So I just want to say I believe that this is these are conspiracy charges that will be going. And I'm saying in the title, it says why I think Eric hasn't been arrested. It should say yet, because I believe some charges are coming, and I think it's going to blow people away. Personally, I think the kind of charges that are coming, because I think, and I've said this before, I personally believe, and these are just all my thoughts. I believe that Patrick is the little minnow in a pond of sharks. And I think that, and I'm going to show you why I think he got arrested first, and I mean first, because this is how the FBI and the feds do things. And I'm going to show you guys, because I got to thinking, for 20 years, I've watched the FBI files, and I've got over in my cabinet, I've got every season of FBI files, and I'm so impressed how the feds work. They are geniuses, you guys, and they're 10 steps ahead of people. And they got little tricks and stuff, and I'll go into that later. But they have, and we're going to go over kind of what happens when there's a conspiracy. Yeah, the easy fish gets hooked first. And I've said this before. I said personally, before I even read this stuff that I'm going to show you guys, before I even read that, I said personally, if I was the prosecutor or the investigator, I would go after the little fish and then get the little fish and scare the little fish and make the little fish talk and do what I want. And then it'll help me get the big fish, right? And like put a lot of charges on the little fish and tell them you'll get some of those charges reduced or whatever.
To intimidate the little fish.
Yeah. And so what I'm going to show you is and so once there's two or more people, it's a conspiracy. So it'd be fraud and conspiracy. I'm going to show you what they do, what their routines are for these type of investigations. And I'm going to tell you, I believe that Eric, by what we've seen on social media, has quite a path in his past. He's got a trail of some very questionable dealings with very extremely large sums of money. Sometimes people have fundraisers and they mishandle 500 or 2,500. No, we're talking 100,000, 200,000, because and so what I believe is that this, if Eric wasn't on the radar before, this Whitaker thing put him in the bullseye, on the radar, on the bullseye of the feds, because we've heard about the kid that got burned, and they raised, I think, $80,000. Now, this is what I've heard. All the stories over the last year have been on the internet. You see them come up constantly about this kid with the burns, and Eric raised $80,000 because there was no insurance for the surgery, and at the last minute they get the insurance, and the kid doesn't need to pay the $80,000 bill. So what really should have happened is either everybody gets some money refunded, or they just give it to the kid's family, because that kid has a long life ahead and a lot of problems, and he's going to need that $80,000. Should have been handed to him, but instead Eric allegedly kept that money, right? And then there was some other stuff with the father's rights. Now I don't even know, but there's another thing that was 120,000 or something. Right there's $200,000. And then look at with the Whitakers. Patrick threw out a number 240,000. I mean, right there's $500,000, and that's just two cases. Now this is all allegedly. But so not only the burn kid, then another one. Then there was. I happened to be watching a dad talk today, and this was back. It was an old episode, and they were talking about. It was Eric and either Jeff or Mark. It was one of his buddies he's talking to, and they're talking about this trip, and he now everything he does is on donations. People thinking it's going to go for dad's rights or whatever. So his buddies, I don't know how many. I think Robert Masters. He keeps naming these same people, right? And
Right.
so they all went over to Europe. It was somewhere, I don't know, somewhere in the UK. I can't even remember where, but they went across overseas. They were supposed to be getting interviews of something that has to do with father's rights or something, right? It was supposed to be a legit thing. So one of his buddies was holding the camera. I don't know if it was Jeff or what, but that's his excuse. So he brought all his buddies there, overseas on a trip. When he comes back, they're laughing about this. They're laughing about this on one of the episodes. How when they got back, they realized that they lost all the footage of the famous people that they met. Like, come on. So they got nothing to prove what they did over there. I mean, it's anyway. That was another one. The trip to Europe. If the police are listening, check into that one. Then there was also money used from Dad to go meet President Trump and it was I don't know how much, like 25,000 for a plate.
I heard it was $10,000 for that.
10,000, whatever it was. There was an enormous amount of money to go have a dinner, some type of a dinner thing with Trump where he could shake his hand afterwards. You know what I mean? And he got his photo out. So people were mad about that. And so it's time after time. These are just ones he's talking about. And if you're talking about a conspiracy, because I'm going to show you guys a few things, how they operate on these conspiracies. And so obviously, Patrick's been caught in charge on whatever he did. You know what I mean? He's not a conspirator. But if if they're going to focus their eyes on Eric, then they probably saw, wow, look at this and look at this and look at this. But if you think about it, this and remember this, all these people, when I show you what they do with the conspirators, okay? So you got Eric, he's from Georgia. You've got Jeff Morgan, he's from Texas. You've got Mark Escobar, he's from California. You got Robert Mast, he's from Idaho. You've got Sean, his brother, which I think he's from Georgia. He was there. You've got Patrick from West Virginia. You've got the Amish people across the border in Virginia, which is still another state. Okay, so I mean that's how many states that crossed over, and every time Eric is in one of these things, and remember it was the Robert Mast trial. Everybody was over there staying in Airbnbs up in Idaho, for an entire month. And Eric doesn't have a job, whatever. But they're all up there, where that money come from. And by the way, so Robert Mast, people notice, I said I can't find his website anymore. Well, it was taken down, I guess, for the foundation. Somebody said it was taken down because they didn't pay taxes. So anyway, Robert Mast seems to be coming and going out of his stories. Mark Douche Escobar, he is coming and going out of all these stories. Jeff Morgan comes and goes in all these stories. So you get the same players over and over, right? And so, anyway, so let's go. I'm going to show you. Anything you want to say while I pull up a video?
No, I'm listening to you. I'm all in.
All right. So let's see. I'm going to show me a second. So I'm going to show you something that only comes up on my phone. It doesn't come up on my laptop, so I videotaped it, and this is about is a prosecutor's advantage of trying two fraud co-conspirator suspects separately at trial. We'll just start there. We're going to go over a few of these, okay?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you can see them. I don't know how good you can see this. Let's see. Hold on. You guys, I'll be getting a computer soon. I have a laptop, but I'm going to get a better computer so I'll be able to share screens and do all this stuff normally. But right now, we're rubbing two sticks together. So here you go. I don't know if you can see that, but it says, what is a prosecutor's advantage of trying two fraud co-conspiracy suspects separately at trial? And it says now this is just the beginning of what I'm going over. Trying two fraud co-conspirators separately allows prosecutors to introduce the guilty plea or conviction of the first tried co-conspirator as evidence against the second, and they test their evidence and they refine their strategy without revealing their entire case prematurely. And hold on a second. And secure testimony from one suspect to use against the other. We'll keep going here. A second. Let me fast forward this. Now, specific strategies include evidentiary pivoting. In the first trial ends in a conviction, prosecutors can use that verdict to establish the existence of the conspiracy. This often pressures the second defendant to accept a plea bargain. All right, so you already got one conviction, and anyway, but this goes way broader. This is way broader with Eric, I believe. Now it says refining strategy.
Man, you just doxed your finger.
I did. Oh, man. Now they're going to serve me. Those papers for reading this. Refining strategy, prosecutors get a dry run on their case. They see how the defense cross-examines witnesses, gauge the jury reaction to specific evidence, and patch up any holes in their arguments before the second trial. All right, and then, what did I say? You charge the first.
Just practice.
Yeah, and yeah. All right, there's my finger again. Dang it. Immunity and testimony. If the government offers immunity or plea deal to the one co-conspirator, that individual can be compelled to testify in a trial of the second suspect. The first co-conspirator insider account provides direct, compelling evidence of the fraud. All right, and then we go on to avoiding jury confusion. Because they don't really like, I don't see hardly any time that a prosecutor wants to have two people tried at once. It's really a lot harder. Complex fraud cases often involve massive amounts of documentation and intricate financial trails. Remember that. Trying suspects separately allows the prosecution to present a streamlined, targeted narrative for each individual without the risk of perjury. Without the risk of jury conflating the actions and guilt of the co-conspirators. So one can look guilty in hell, and they'll both, get. But other way, if one looks really innocent, like they're looking framed, they sometimes will let them both off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Next, here's a good one: leveraging the quote empty chair. By trying one defendant first, prosecutors can shift the primary blame to the absent co-conspirator, simplifying the narrative of the jury. All right, and I think, wait, let me see if this is the end of it, because this is the first one. I got one more. Okay, here. It says, would you like to explore how co-conspirator hearsay exceptions work in fraud trials, or are you looking for information? And it says, Anyway, so I go to the next one. I picked something else, and it was this one. And this is also why they go after. Oh, and this is on a short, so hold on a second. Now it's a daytime here, so I got windows reflecting off my screen here. All right, this is one of the many reasons I don't usually go in the sun. I don't do videos for sure usually. Live streams ain't so bad, but all right. So here's a question: when there is a fraud conspiracy, do prosecutors often wait to arrest the second person? Okay, this is important because we see that Eric's not getting arrested, right? Prosecutors intentionally delay arresting a second conspirator in a fraud case to secretly gather more evidence. All right, there we go. Prosecutors intentionally delay arresting a second conspirator in a fraud case to secretly gather more evidence. Flip the first arrested individual into an informant. Map out the full criminal hierarchy by keeping the second suspect unaware. Oh, and I'm going to show you something else. This is interesting. By keeping the second suspect unaware, let me go fast forward. Investigators can quietly track their assets, monitor communications, and build a stronger, airtight case.
And that's what I think is going on. And you and I talked about that because Eric has got more of a past about this.
Yeah. And I'm going to show you here when this is done why Eric got so upset by me being named as suspect. Remember that? All right.
Yep.
So making the second arrest serves several key strategic and legal purposes. Let's go to, fast forward to the next one. All right. Flipping the first suspect. So arresting one conspirator first allows prosecutors to offer leniency, immunity, or plea deal in exchange for testimony or evidence against the second person. And that's kind of what I figured. They would squeeze the first little fish to get the bigger fish. And now, gathering undetected evidence, leaving the second suspect free, allows investigators to continue wiretap, surveillance, and undercover operations without the suspect destroying evidence or alerting other co-conspirators. All right. Now, if you notice, when Eric got named a suspect, he said that everybody stopped.
I can't hear you. I didn't. Wait a minute. We didn't hear that. I didn't hear that at all. Like you went dead there.
Can you hear me?
I could hear you now.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm not sure where my mic cut out at. But,
you were talking about the suspects or something, and then it went.
Yeah. All right. So, when Eric got named a suspect by the state police, remember how upset Eric got? I'm going to show you why. So mapping the network by waiting, prosecutors can identify unknown accomplices, money launderers, and victims that wouldn't have discovered with an immediate arrest. All right. Now, finish this up. And I'm going to show you why they got all mad. Now, if you guys remember, and I'm not sure this might be the end of it. Let me see. Preventing premature tips. Here. An early arrest of one party immediately alerts the others, which often results in destroyed digital records, hidden assets, or suspects fleeing the jurisdiction. So think about this. They made it sound like, this is according to Eric, the adult protection people that he was helping, he was arm in arm with the police. there's rumors that the state police were even in Eric's Airbnb talking to everybody. But, so it just seemed like Eric was. Why are they treating him like royalty? Right? I'm
Right.
out of state. Like what the heck? Well, um, I think they were giving him a false sense of security um, because when we heard that the investigation started, this was a week after the family was taken. One Monday they were taken, the next Monday they announced the suspect, and all we've ever heard was that they came and took both Patrick's phones, or I don't know how many he had. Took his phones with the S. So they came, they took his phones, right? They seized. We never heard of them seizing Eric's phones, have we?
No, but I mean, I don't know how much Eric has. He hasn't really admitted to anything except, you know,
No,
how
no.
upset he got, and when you were talking about that, that clicked with me, you know?
But when I'm saying that is because think about this. I think they gave Eric a false sense of
I
security
agree.
and then they let him keep his phone. Think about it. Why did they let him keep his
So that
phone?
he could continue on,
Uh huh.
and on.
Yep. Yep. And so I'm going to show you guys something about being named a
Because
suspect.
as soon as something happens, like you had said, you know, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna call and say, "Hey, you know, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?"
Well, right. And when I was telling Toddie about it, I remember watching these FBI file, all these movies that I have. Um, it's true crime too. They're true cases, and they had a technique called tickling the wires. And what they would do is when they had a suspect and they really couldn't get anything else out of them, they're kind of at a stalemate with their investigation. They need something or whatever. Um, what they would do is they would get a judge to sign a wiretap order and tap their phones. And then what they do next, once the wiretap's uh, in place, the cops would do something to rattle the suspect. Like they would park down the street in a white van and kind of like they're surveilling the house, but they kind of secretly want the people to see them, right? So, oh man, there's a white van. I think I'm being watched, or they'll have a cop drive by slow and just look at you and then take off, or something to mess with your head, right?
Right.
Um, and and so what happens naturally, because I think this is genius, that the suspect gets rattled, like, oh dang, they're moving in. You know what I mean? Oh
Right.
shit, they're on to me. And so what they do is they get on the phone and say, hey Bob, yeah, I need to put these weapons at your house. Yeah, well don't worry. No, I got the shit out in the garage. It's in the attic. They'll never find it. You know what I mean? So they start spilling the video. They like, and it works so good. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
imagine it. Now, this is just an imaginary scenario. Imagine if Eric finds out that they're on to him. Imagine the phone calls he made. He called Douche. He called, Jeff. And, you know what I mean? Hey, we got to go on. You know what I mean? Imagine the gold mine of cover ups if they tickled the wires over down there by Eric. You know what I mean? got rattled
Exactly.
his got rattled his cage, so he starts to talk. And what happened? What recently happened? Something rattled Eric's cage, and he talked, and he spilled the beans. And what was it?
He came
What was
out
it?
very upset, very, very upset
Very
that they
upset.
were yep, that they didn't give him. You said it. I mean, you said it. When
Immunity.
you painted that picture, I was just like, "Holy shit, Kathy." Yep.
Yep. They were mad because Eric has been mad because he even called himself a patsy, and that he got used by the system and all this stuff. And what happened also? His friend uh, Mark Escobar came on, and Mark was yelling, "Yeah, you guys, you suck and all this. Remember, you can kiss
Yep.
my ass." Remember
'Cause
how
he didn't
angry
get
they were
immunity. 'Cause he didn't get
because he
immunity.
didn't get immunity. And I'm
Why
gonna
would he be so upset about let's ask this
right.
question. I wanna ask Hillbilly this question. If he didn't get immunity, and he's upset about not getting immunity.
Right.
Why would we believe that the case is closed and he's exonerated? If he's upset about
Right.
not getting immunity, why would we think that the case is closed?
And we haven't heard anything.
Of course
All
not.
right. So I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but I'm going to show you. Why does police name someone a suspect in a fraud case? I wanted to be specific. Police name someone that's a suspect in a fraud case because they have established probable cause that the individual committed the crime.
Can you repeat that,
Okay.
Kathy? All the way in the back. For all the way in the back.
Police name a suspect, okay? They named Errol Carroll a suspect, which is different from saying a person of interest, okay? Completely different. If a person of interest is just a person of interest, but once you're named a suspect, that's why Eric hit the roof. Okay, remember, he got mad last fall, and he said Dwayne got a hold of him and said, "You're a suspect." And he said, "I can't be a suspect," or whatever. Police name someone a suspect in a fraud case because they have established probable cause that the individual committed that crime. Officers publicly name suspects to locate a fleeing individual or in the community about ongoing scams or solicit tips from the public to help build their case. And what did he say? Gilkison said, anybody got tips, bring them in.
That's right. That's right.
You're not named a suspect unless the police have probable cause that you committed a crime.
And they're the only ones that could clear him. And they haven't cleared him.
Right. Police primarily designate an individual to move the investigation forward through several strategic and procedural steps. Official charging. Once the investigation yields enough evidence to present to the prosecutor, police formally charge the suspect, making the name a matter of public record. They also want, obviously, the public assistance. They want to warn people, hey, you know, they're being charged with fraud for anybody out there dealing with them right now, you know, and then they get the arrest warrant. Okay, so that's, I just wanted to make it clear why it's such a big deal for Eric to be named a suspect, because it means the police have enough evidence to charge you.
Exactly. And it can take 1 to 3 years, like Kathy said. And he is, unfortunately, I would be grateful for this, Patrick. Don't take any offense to this. He's the bigger fish here. Let him catch all the
definitely.
Let him catch all the chum, man. Let him catch all the chum.
Yeah. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's see what else I got. I got a few things to pull up. All right. What to know about federal conspiracy charges? And remember, this is just the money part. The whole other half is the exploitation charges. So,
and he did that better than anybody. He did that better than anybody.
He exploited every last one of them. I mean, and showing their shortcomings. Oh my goodness. Showed Ray picking his nose for a 30-minute car drive. You know what I mean?
Right,
I mean, come on.
Exactly.
Showed him with pee in his pants and just Timmy outside the toilet. Asked him why he's taking a crap, and you know, I mean, just putting him in pajamas, baby clothes, and making him do Barney stuff.
Those funky dances and shit, and give me a hug and all this. Yes.
Yeah, lay in a bed. Teach him his ABCs when he, you know, graduated, knows how to read and write 30 years ago. You know what I mean? Whatever.
But that's the first time, Kathy. That's the first time anybody's ever taken time with him. You know that, right?
Yeah. And nobody ever loved him before. Timmy never felt love from anybody. Yeah. Anyway,
that whole family is broken up. And as far as I'm concerned, it is one person. That's one person that broke up the family. I'm not saying Patrick's innocent, but I don't think
What?
Patrick broke up this family. I've never thought
Right.
Patrick broke up this family. You know, Eric broke up this family because he wanted what happened, but he wanted fucking Timmy. Look at what happened.
Yeah, but to be fair, Patrick was all in on the adopting Timmy stuff too.
Huh.
Right up to the week before, he
Yeah, I'm
got.
not saying. Yeah, listen,
Yeah.
Patrick
So yeah, had
adopting
Eric.
Timmy.
Yeah.
Nobody's adopting. First of all, nobody's adopting Timmy,
Right.
without their mom, right? I mean, he's got a mother. He's got a
Right.
mother. And Patrick, let's say, I would never see Patrick adopting Timmy, but let's just say that happened. Right across the street's his mother. Fucking Eric
Uh,
taking Timmy and
right.
moving him to a different state where nobody knows him. I mean, Patrick and Timmy established a relationship. They had a relationship. Again, how many times did Timmy call Patrick? How many times did Timmy call 911 with Patrick?
Yeah. That's what I said. He's uh, whatever 100 times with Eric and none when he was at Patrick's or at home.
And he would run to Patrick. We saw that on videos. He ran to Patrick for help. You know what I'm saying? He ran to Patrick for friendship. That was genuine with Timmy. I still think that Patrick failed the family after everything that happened. I wish that Patrick would have been stronger and would have crusaded against. He would have had everybody. I just think things would have been so much different had there been action.
And blackmailing Larry about the gallon of gas I mean, come on.
Yeah, so that wasn't. But I also think, and I'm not. I know I'm going to get haters. I think that. I just think that Eric came in with the wrong intentions, and I think he overpowered. I don't know what went on. I think something that we don't even know about yet happened after Patrick broke his leg, and I think that disconnect is something that we're not sure of. You know what I mean? I think that there's a lot more to that disconnect that Eric caused with Patrick, because I remember Patrick just telling me how disconnected. He didn't use that word, but he was like, I didn't know what was going on after I broke my leg. Like all of a sudden, all these other people are getting involved, and I know nothing about it. I know nothing until basically they get there. So I mean, there's stuff with that Patrick does not know about. I'm convinced Patrick does not know about shit.
No, I objection, because I gotta object to that, because Patrick was laying with a freshly broken leg, telling everybody that BJ got evicted. The police are out looking for him. He did the videotape. A red car driving by beeping, saying everybody that BJ's tormented. The police are out looking for her. And then he said that they had all kinds of security guards 24/7. They're getting her done and all this stuff. So he did all that with a broken leg. He was right there, laying on the pillow.
Honestly, okay, well, listen, then that's responsibility. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's
and laying on a pillow when him. In fact, I just saw the post that Eric made that day. Hey, everybody. Patrick and I have been working for the last 24 hours to get an eviction notice for BJ and blah, blah, blah. And they went along with that. And then, now he says it was all bullshit. Security guard bullshit. Everything was bullshit.
I remember. I don't remember them. Oh, I do. Now that I think about it. Okay. Yes. I'm thinking about it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Oh, yeah. I could give more examples, but he helped with that. He helped with the demonizing BJ, trying to get rid of her.
And I do remember asking him point blank on Lady K's on that thing that I did with him on Lady K's show. And he had said, and I don't know what the truth is, because he's gone back and forth a couple times. I'm just talking about Patrick right now, about BJ, because we asked him point blank, and he said no.
Right.
No, she never hit him. Something about the shoe.
Never hit him.
And the dog incident. And
Yeah.
then after that, I know that I heard him say she did, and I'm like, "What the fuck? You just." So, I mean, I wish
Right.
that there was, and I don't know.
Right.
So that I
When
feel
it's
like,
convenient.
yeah, I wish that I just wish, obviously, we all wish that things would have been different, most of the people, and wish that the family was never messed with and that they were still, obviously together. But I think it's fascinating because, you know, I'm really upset um that only one person is being charged at the moment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we saw two people do this, and
And this is why. Here's another one right here. Investigators frequently delay arresting a second suspect in fraud conspiracy to conduct covert surveillance, gather additional information, and encourage co-conspirators to make deals. They often coordinate simultaneously arrests off and on, making the arrest so they can build. So they this is what they do. They arrest one first all the time, and it says the police wait to arrest an accomplice depends entirely on a specific strategy, and to build a stronger case. Uh, Delaying an arrest allows them obviously to do more gathering of, and that's like I
information, right?
said, and what happened when you know
There's something
again.
funky going on with your audio.
Is it all right? Is that
Ask
better?
people in the chat if they hear that, because a lot of times maybe the chat doesn't hear it, but I hear
Oh,
it.
okay.
So,
Okay.
I
So
mean,
they
you don't
build
have
a
to
stronger
repeat
case.
yourself if it's just me, but if it's the people in the chat, they're not
Yeah.
getting it either.
Okay. Um. Yeah. So that's it. And then you know how Eric always has the LLC, right, to try to protect
Right.
himself.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
that will actually could make things worse. You know what I mean?
AT&T.
So the LLC only protects you if like there's some accident or something bad happens that.
Well, it also protects your money. Wait a minute. It
Well,
also protects
that's
your.
what I'm saying. Yeah, so you don't get sued and you don't get your house taken away, and you know what I mean. So that's basically it's for, so you don't financially get destroyed if something bad happens. But it doesn't protect you against any of your wrongdoings. If you're committing a crime, the LLC will actually backfire because now the charges could be worse because you used the LLC, and that gets
Yeah.
into I don't know, like RICO
Like a
charges.
jail thing, exactly. It becomes RICO charges. It does become RICO
Mhm.
charges because of that.
Yeah, and with the multiple cases and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so there are
yeah,
people saying that your audio is muffled a bit, so it's not just me that's
and
hearing
that's
it,
okay.
unfortunately.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure why. Let me know if it's better.
Because you have a shit system. As my friend
Yeah,
Morbid would
no,
say, my friend Morbid wouldn't even talk to you, man, but I'm not
no,
morbid. No, he's
yeah,
very audio, what's the word?
sensitive. Hmm.
No, prejudice.
Oh yeah, yeah. I do plan on getting a new system here very soon. So then we won't have the problems. There'll be a few tests. I have to test it out.
Yep.
But yeah, and right now my normal headphones broke when I was playing outside, and so I'm using a backup ones right now. So that might be it too.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, let me get back in the chat because I'm way off here. Sorry guys, I've not been watching the comments. Yeah, so I think people would it would be a good thing if people just kind of relax because it says that these investigations take between 1 to 3 years, I think.
And we're just coming up on 1 year. We still have a
Not
couple
yet,
months to go.
not even because the investigation supposedly opened in well, I think it had to open up earlier than
In September.
September, because they named him a suspect in September. What
Yeah,
was
but
this?
that's only 3 months away now, Kathy. That's only a few months away now.
Right. But yeah, I mean we're still 3 months, so it's been 3/4 of a year. But yeah, it can take and the more complicated and the more players. And so,
Exactly.
and so
Exactly.
just,
And as
and,
we know, like I'm sorry, but okay, so Patrick has brought up a couple of Patrick has brought up not my monkeys sent you money for your legal fees against I guess it's against
oh, thank you.
Hillbilly or Eric.
Oh, that goes to my bail or what? Oh, legal fees. Thank you. Not my monkeys. $10 towards your system or legal fees. Well, thank you. I will. Apparently, they have my hometown, my license plate, and now they have my street
And your
address. So
finger.
and my finger,
Right.
and so yeah, it's they're closing in. So thank you. I'll need that. Thank you, not my monkeys. Let's see, Kathy. Do you have any clips of Eric accepting donations for the family with Dwayne? Yeah. Well, you mean during their live streams? Yeah. In fact, I made a video where somebody specifically gave $300 and said, "Make sure Timmy gets this." And Eric's like, "Oh man, you know how hard that is. If we gotta wait, like we don't get the money for a month, and then you know what? They take taxes out." And he goes, "Dwayne, how much tax is going to get taken out? 300?" And they're trying to figure it out, and neither one of them can count. And I don't know. Within 30, 45 seconds, they're like, "I don't know, maybe you know." So no, basically he says it's too complicated to get Timmy the 300. I don't know if they ever oh, and then they looked up how much they're going to get out of it. Timmy was going to get 260, I think, but it was just too hard. You want those? Oh, I have those. Yes, I do. Yes. Yeah. So anyway, have you been watching your driveway for the process server, Toddie?
I think it's so ridiculous that what's funny is I have her blocked, so there's people that send me like screenshots and now it's become like a joke, you know what I'm saying? Like they know that when I get it, it's something that I'm gonna laugh about because I just don't understand how you could be so stupid. Pardon my language. I mean, how could you be so stupid to just think that when you open up your mouth, it matters so much? Like, I just think it's funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You
She
and I
just
don't even
sounds so fucking stupid. I'm sorry. It's just,
right.
hey, for any
And,
opinion, I mean, what world are we living in that
right.
I don't understand? Like, how would it not be? How how could this
Right.
idiot, pardon me, not figure, well, shit, let me put one and one together and come up with two. How did we even find out that Eric was under investigation? Gee, I guess it was the police. Did we see anything saying that that's been taken off and Eric's not under investigation? No. Did we hear phone calls with
Well,
people calling and asking directly and them not getting an answer because nothing changed? This is the thing, like, I mean, just use your head
well,
or don't touch a computer. That's the best
and,
thing I got for you.
and that means that by those standards, she can't give her opinion, and she can't go on channels who give their opinion.
Well, that would be
If that
hard to do considering the only breath
right,
she takes is on,
right. So yeah, I mean, I guess the rules only apply to us. But yeah, you, me, and Justin, we're all
well,
getting
there's trying to
served.
be an intimidation is what it is. There's more crime in that,
Right,
in trying to intimidate and harassing
right.
than there is in offering an opinion about somebody that's under investigation.
And not only that, but she wants my address under false pretense. She knows there's nobody going to get served anything, so she wanted my address to do
1520
something
Easy
else.
Street.
Yeah, that's right. I'm on
1520
Easy
Easy
Street.
Street.
Yep, 1111. Yep,
No, Sarah,
1520.
I didn't. Sarah, I'm sorry, I didn't. I did not, Sarah.
Well, hey, Red, good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. Yes, it shows stupidity of people. Yeah, so I guess I'm the holdup. They know you and your address. They know Justin his address.
I
We're
don't
there's
understand if they're trying to get a 3 for 1, a 2 for 1, a 4 for 1. What's this?
maybe there's a buy two
Yeah.
servings, get one free. But yeah, so we can't get served until they get my address. So she's put a beacon out for anybody that can get my address so I can get served. But really, what does she really want my address for? You know what I mean? To harass me some more, probably. Yeah,
I don't know. I think there's more crime against that than offering an
right,
opinion about somebody who's already
right,
been like
right.
suspected
And,
of doing the
right.
wrong thing.
And so I guess we're supposed to stop talking about Eric. Is that the bottom line?
I don't know. She needs to get a
We'll be
filter
okay.
though. A filter that filters her filter, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard.
You know,
Yeah,
somebody that talks so disgusting about people really needs to take a look in the mirror. A big mirror, like a super size mirror. You know,
yeah,
I
and
could be
ask your
just as
yeah,
nasty. I could be, and I can guarantee you, hillbilly, I got thicker skin than you. You know, I guarantee you that. So she needs to watch it because there's, patience is running out.
yeah. I'm not sure what's going on with my camera right now. That's kind of weird.
I don't know.
Oh,
Don't let
wait.
them find you though, because that's all it's gonna take, Kathy.
I know.
Don't show more than that finger, man. Because as
I
soon as they
know.
find out who you are, they're gonna serve all of us. So I'm
I
holding out
know.
for you. I'm holding
Yes.
out for you to not
Yes.
be able to show yourself.
Well, I'm not showing my finger anymore, and yeah. So they know I'm on Easy Street. That's all. They can go from there.
15 Easy Street. Oops, sorry.
That's right. Oops. Oops. Yeah, you're right. There is a saying that goes, "It's easier to fool people than convince them that they've been fooled." You know,
That's right.
uh,
Yep. Yep.
have you heard that saying?
Yes, I have. It's very much like
Hmm.
the who is it? Is it Edgar Allan Poe? It's very much like that saying. The saying that he has about it's easier. What is it? What is it? It says something about I'd rather be a wittier fool than a foolish wit or something like that. That's what that reminds me of.
Hey, gambling Steve. Hey, Kathy. Watch all the
Somebody
time.
said
Thank
it
you
was
for
Mark
amazing
Twain.
investing.
Florida
Yeah,
Life in
thank
the
you.
Sun said it was Mark Twain.
Yeah, it was
And
the
not my
the
monkey says, I know a finger you could show them.
yeah yeah. Uh, I guess I flipped the wrong one, didn't I? Yeah. Yeah. So gambling Steve, good to see you. I like gambling once in a while.
They said that Gambling Steve wrote something really nice about you. I agree with
Yeah,
that,
I
by the
just
way.
seen that. Yeah, I just read it.
I agree with
Yeah.
you. I agree with you,
Th-
Steve.
Thank you, gambling Steve. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't look like Susan would be a very good detective considering she can't figure out what day of the week it is.
Well, what you think it was Sunday?
She
It
thought it
feels
was
like
Friday.
Sunday.
Thought it was
It's,
Friday.
it felt like Friday earlier. Now it feels like Sunday. I don't know why.
Yeah, I haven't been able to figure out the days lately, to be honest, too.
Tenacity says Kathy, you sure might be right on something. One thing's for sure, Eric's definitely not as cocky and confident as he was when he was bragging about being an informant. Exactly.
I
And
agree. I agree.
yep. And I'm glad that she brought that up because if you're a girl, I think you're a girl, but it says she said he has not been so cocky. In fact, not only has he not been cocky, but he actually looks more scared than he was. Every time we see him, he looks worse and he looks unhealthy and he's lost an awful lot of weight. And people who are under a lot of stress lose weight, you know. Um,
And like you've said, because when you said that, I said to myself, well, everybody's on that Ozempic. And then I thought, but as soon as you said, and you know what, Toddie, he doesn't miss a meal. He's not
mm-mm.
worried about that. You know what I'm saying?
No,
He's not
no,
thin because he's
no.
thin because you're right, stress. And stress is, we're talking about Eric. Stress is he is worn. He has been he has aged in this last
Yeah.
in this last 8 months.
Yeah. And so that's the stress of somebody, I believe, that is waiting for the hammer to drop. You know what I mean? And the funny thing is, if they did, because I told Toddie, people don't know. I could be a Fed. You could be a Fed. Anybody could be brought in, and I'm not okay. But
I
anybody
am.
could.
I am a
Well,
Fed.
you
I'm
are.
joking.
You but anybody could. Any one of us. The Anybody could be brought in, if not a Fed, by the Feds. You could be convinced to, hey, and I'm not saying Tim is, but a good example would be have Tim go in there and start talking on camera and get Patrick talking, or the feds could say, and I'm not saying this happened; these are examples, or the feds could say, um, talk to Patrick and make Patrick say something that will make Eric publicly react. Oh, and by the way,
Like a bait. Go ahead.
yeah, a bait. Okay, and that reminds me. I'm glad I said this because it reminds me that man, I can't
Yeah,
believe I
what? Wait a
almost
minute.
forgot.
You got cut off there. I didn't hear what you said.
Okay,
What?
all right. Can you hear me? Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Um,
What?
so one of the techniques that the FBI, and because I read a lot about this, and I can't like put it out all on here, but one of the things, like another technique is that they do is they will um they'll send you, like, say example, a Bitcoin, and see if it goes through, and they will if it's a Bitcoin scam, or whatever. What they'll do is send you a little bit of money onto an account and see how you react. What does that sound like? Like maybe because somebody brought up a good point and made me a light bulb went off. Like, wait, they do that. Sometimes the feds will put a little bit of money in an account you're not supposed to be using and see what you do about it. I mean, and so I
To
thought,
see.
is that what they, you know, did they do
Yeah.
that with the Instagram, or because I thought one of us did it. You know what I mean? To see if the Instagram works, but sometimes what they'll
Oh, I
do.
know what you're saying. You said that because somebody donated a little bit of money into that Instagram
Mhm.
account to make sure
Yep.
that the Instagram
Yep.
account was actually taking money. And here's the
Yep.
thing, I just want to give you credit, Kathy, because like, you and I have these conversations during the day, and then, you go on lives at night and all this stuff happens and I'm asleep and stuff. And then, one of these guys will put out a video and it's like they they respond to your videos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I think there's
Eh,
stuff
Yep.
that either somebody's showing them screenshots like they show us, or they're watching the videos. And
Yeah.
that I think the thing with Hillbilly, I'm just gonna say it, is that Eric doesn't like being called out. And we're
No.
actively calling him out saying, listen, we're not going to shut up about the fact that,
Mm.
you're being checked over here because they put that on you. We didn't put that on you, but for you to act like it's all Patrick and try to win the court of public opinion, that's not going to happen because even if you're not charged, we all watched what you did. And
Right.
you're guilty. You're fucking guilty, Eric. You are guilty of taking advantage, exploiting this family, and leaving them with nothing.
He's
Patrick
like
did
a.
not make those phone calls. Patrick did not create that sense of urgency. And I don't think Patrick gave a shit who lived in the house or not. I don't agree with the way he handled things with what you said, Kathy, as far as him even falling in with Eric and not showing his own strength. I don't agree with that at all. I think that's a weak person. Um, it doesn't make him evil, it makes him weak. Eric, I've always thought was evil when everything came about. I just called Patrick stupid. Sorry, Patrick, but I always just called him stupid. You know what I'm saying? Eric was evil, you
Yeah,
know?
diabolical,
And
diabolical.
exactly. And Eric didn't plan on giving the Whitakers anything. And that's not what I believe about Patrick. You know, I believe Patrick wanted to give the Whitakers. He wanted to make his money, but he wanted to give the Whitakers. I don't think that ever entered Eric's mind because he was busy
Mm,
spending all the fucking money.
yeah, but remember the first 5,000 that was supposed to go to Whitaker's, Patrick put forth took 4,000 that and put it in his pocket. That was the first payday, and
Yeah,
he
see, you
helped.
just told me. So I just want to say, and I want to be clear about this. Kathy is much better about keeping. I mean, like when she tells me something, she'll say, "Well, I went into this file," because she's just much more organized, especially when it comes to the Whitakers than I am. So where I'm watching videos about a bunch of different things, you know, Kathy, you're just much more um in tune. I'd be a liar if I said anything different. You because the Whitakers, you've studied backwards, forwards. You've come up with a calendar where you've written everything down at least one time, and then you changed your calendar and rewrote it down. Then you went back to the other calendar.
Yeah,
So you have studied this stuff left, right, and sideways. So it doesn't surprise me when you find things, and I'm like, well, where was I during this time? And I'm saying to myself, well, you know, she's been studying this. I've been watching it. You've been studying it. There's a difference. And you could tell by your work, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Susan
Um,
says so wants to come up. Just so
yeah. I
you
guess
see
I could.
that.
Yeah, you mind or?
Oh, I
I
don't
mean,
care. You're
you're a
piano.
guest. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can. Are you able to put a link or no?
I don't think I could put a link because I don't have the link. The link was you had the link originally. I'd be fine. How are you? Hey, Ratty. I don't like dead air, and I don't think. Hey, Florida Life in the Sun. I hope you'll allow me to play with Mackay, Connor Mackay. What's his name? Mackay Connor.
All
Kathy
right.
back.
Yeah. Okay. There's the link. I think it's getting posted. Hold on a second.
She said
Why
just
is
a
this?
minute.
Oh, she said just a minute. Okay.
Well, I just saw where she said just a minute. I don't know if
Alright.
she needs to do something or what, but I'm alone by myself again, so I'll continue on. Hey, Rad. G thank you, Gambling Steve, by the way, I saw that you said that you watched me too. Thank you, I appreciate that. Mark showed proof instantly where Eric's proof exactly. Mark showed proof where the money went, 1000%, and, Eric showed us chicken scratch. That makes no sense, you know?
Right.
So, drop it. Susan says so, says drop it.
Okay, I'm trying.
I wish Micah's name was Mike. Can't believe you said that, not my monkeys. I'm not even gonna say that out loud. That's me. We're too old to laugh about that shit. Oh god. Yeah.
Alright, is it on there? No. Yeah, hold on a second.
I don't see
Alright,
your
there
link.
it is. There it is. Oh wait.
I don't see your link still, Kathy.
Alright, there it
Oh,
is.
I see it. There it is. I see it.
Alright. So she should be able to come up now. Alright.
He had plans to just take Timmy, I think, and make a living off him. So do I. That's
Oh
exactly
yeah.
what I think, Gambling Steve.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I
Absolutely.
think.
That's what the goal was, yep.
With no regard for anybody else.
Right. Should I have waited on that link or what?
No, I
See.
think that she was ready at that point. I think she said
So.
something about it. She said drop it, so yeah, just give her a second, I guess.
Okay.
But we could continue talking instead of having dead air.
Yeah. Yeah,
Don't
no,
want
that's right.
dead air. So I don't know why I keep getting the only one up here. Just be careful with that word, tenacity. It is. Just be careful because I don't want Kathy to get in trouble for that being up there.
What?
Tenacity was asking, is it that? And it is that, but just got to be careful with that in your chat.
Oh yeah,
Those words, that's all, just the words.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
All right, and, so hopefully this is Susan, right? Not a porn bomb. Okay, I'm sorry.
Susan says so.
All right, there you go. Are you there?
Hey, ladies, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay. Good, yep. Hey, Susan, welcome. Can you hear us?
Let me get Lucy to hush.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian.
I figured 3 of us would make the set.
Well, wait a minute. Can I hang on? Well, Gambling Steve is making a claim that I didn't know about. Did you see that, guys? I'm sorry, Susan. He's saying that Eric's mom has already taken some people like that. Do you know about that?
Yeah, Eric's mom, the res care. They grew up with adopting mentally challenged people.
I knew that his mom worked for res care. I didn't know that his mom had actually taken in people and got paid for that. I never knew that. I didn't know.
All of them stories that Eric told, that growing up he had this, that Keith was just like Larry. Another one was just like Lorraine. He had all these characters.
I vaguely remember that. I don't really listen to Eric because I don't find him interesting, but I watch his actions, and his actions told me exactly who he was. I vaguely remember what you're talking about. Yes, as I watched it on like 3.0 speed. But yeah, that's terrible because that absolutely would make sense. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely, that makes sense.
That's what he was trying to say. He's the perfect person to do it because he's already had a Lorraine, he had a Ray, he had a Demi before.
Absolutely.
You know what I
mean? But that didn't register with me. So there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Anyway. That's why he got the mom's help. Did Susan drop off?
I hope she didn't drop off because I just wanted to say that because I just saw that. I said, hopefully she didn't drop off because of that. I did say, wait a minute, hang on, I'm sorry, but I wanted to bring that up. I don't know why I keep ending up the only person here.
I thought she was taking care of the dog. That's why I kept talking. But anyway, Susan, try to come back. Oh, there she is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that, Susan. I thought you were taking care of your dog. Hold on a second.
No, that's okay. I was having like a bad echo.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
You got to shut everything off except this one window.
And the delay. Yeah, I did. I had to come out of watching y'all like on the app.
So what do you think, Susan? What do you think of all this, Susan?
Well, my thing is,
how come I'm the only one on screen?
I don't know.
Kathy did that. My thing is this. And I want to stress this to everybody. Patrick is charged with certain crimes, correct? I think everybody is getting so tangled up and tied up with going after Patrick. And I'm not on here to defend Patrick. So, y'all please don't get me wrong, okay?
Yep.
But everybody is kind of like, how the magician says, look over here, he gets your attention, so you're not really watching what he's doing with his left hand.
Right,
I feel like that is what Eric is doing. You know, it's like Patrick in the money, Patrick in the money, but everybody keeps forgetting that all of these other social media accounts that Eric created and that were being paid directly to Eric, where's all that money?
Yeah,
What
you know, I know that's what Patrick feels like, but he's got to realize that 90% of people know that Eric is the problem. I mean,
well, I'm not, Kathy. I'm not talking about what what Patrick feels. I'm telling you what I'm seeing. I would never dare to speak for Patrick, but from just from a viewer standpoint, the way I'm seeing it, I'm like, okay, everybody is focused on this money that Patrick supposedly accepted or took or didn't give to the Whitakers. I mean, I think compared to the amount of money that Eric was raking in on all of these different social media accounts, what Patrick's accused of isn't a drop in the bucket.
Well, and I said that. I've said it many times, and at the beginning of this live stream, I believe that Patrick is a little minnow in the big pond of sharks with Eric, and so I think that Patrick was basically a patsy. They used him. He was easy. They used him to get what they wanted. You know what I mean? So I think that I personally believe that down the road here, we're going to see charges on Eric, and they're going to be way more than Patrick.
And I think some of those charges on Patrick are actually going to fall off. Some of them will fall off, I believe.
I think some of those are for bartering. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but as far so Patrick got charged with two things, plus using the electronic funds. But we'll focus on the two things. The one thing was exploiting of the Whitakers, one for each count, 6 counts, one for each family member. Five. I'm sorry, 5. One for each of the Whitakers. So I believe that Eric exploited them also, and maybe even more. Now, the other part of it was the fraud with the money. Patrick got charged with 5 or 6 felonies for the money part. Now, I believe that Eric also will be charged. Just my opinion that he obviously took in way more of the money. So I think both the exploitation was worth with Eric, and I think the amounts of money was way worse than with Eric.
And I'm not, Kathy, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not a legal expert, and I'm not claiming to be.
Yep.
But that's not what I heard. I'm joking. Why am I the only one up here? I am the only one on this screen.
No, I don't know how to fix that. I'm afraid to push anything.
But in my opinion, even though Eric may be hiding behind the contract and thinking that they'll have to, if the Whitakers want their money, that they're going to have to come after him civilly, like in a civil suit, I personally don't think that it's going to fall onto them to have to do that. I think the feds will eventually pick up this case, because just simply getting that contract with them and not paying them, shafting them, scamming them, whatever terminology people want to use, is exploitation in itself. So I think it's coming. I'm telling y'all, and like I said, I'm not defending Patrick by any means. But I think
you could defend Patrick and still think that he's wrong in certain things, and you could defend Patrick and still think Eric's wrong. There's nothing wrong with defending Patrick and what you think he's right about. It's okay. It doesn't have to be so black and white. There's plenty of gray in here. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all, everybody knows I like Patrick. Patrick and I are friends, but I guess what I'm trying to say is if there was something that Patrick did outside of the legal, that qualifies as a criminal charge, then he will deal with that. But
And in all
what I was
fairness, you've always said that. You've always said if he did something wrong, he needs to. You've always said that. That's fair.
Well, I mean, and that is will be settled out in a court of law, And I
Yeah.
wanted to correct you, Toddie. I heard you and Phil the other day, and I double checked with Patrick just to make sure that I was correct on this. Patrick has not been indicted.
Well, I did say that.
Yeah, well, he has not been indicted. He's been charged. He's out on bond. And as I told y'all in my own criminal case, I was out of jail. Well, let's see. Yeah, I was out of jail for a year before my indictment ever hit. So,
Okay. Well, I apologize for that because then I misspoke.
yeah, I just wanted to correct that. I mean, I wasn't trying to.
No,
to
that's
be mean.
fine.
No, that's good to know. That's good to know because I did see, I have the order of what it happens, and I saw that it says the levels at which everything happens. There's investigation, suspects are named, and then it said arrest and then indictment. I thought they need the indictment in order to arrest, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was it when he got charged, and because he keeps referring to the fact that he is wearing that bracelet because of the Whitakers.
No, y'all know, Toddie, you were following this. When Patrick got arrested on the Whitaker charges, correct? He was already on probation because of something else.
Yeah, but he just said something like that.
I understand that. I understand what he said. It was because he did not want to go into all of the stuff. And, people went in there and they pulled up his charges and they broadcast all that stuff. He was on probation for something else when he got arrested for the Whitaker stuff. Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's related. It's
so when you're on probation for something and you catch a new charge, they can, if you've got time, like in my son's case, Patrick and I were talking about this yesterday. He was on probation for something. He caught a new charge. They pulled his 5 years of probation and sent him to prison. So he was and instead of pulling, I guess because Patrick had such a small amount of time left, they chose, instead of fully revoking his probation.
So hang on 1 second. So I'm not going to argue. I agree with all of what you're saying, but just yesterday or the day before, I heard him say that he wasn't going to go into details, but the reason why he was wearing a bracelet was because of the Whitakers. So I'm just going by what he said.
Ultimately,
wait. So let me just tell you where I got my indictment from, where I got that from, because going on what he says, not on what he was thinking, because I can't read his mind, right? Going on what he says, that's when everything changed for me. And that's why I thought, well, he's got a bracelet on because of those charges. He must have been indicted. So you see how I went there?
I got you. But yeah, we need to correct that. Because he was on probation when he caught the new charge with the Whitakers, instead of putting him back in jail, they opted to put him on a leg monitor.
I understand that, but that was different than what he said. I think that's why I didn't take it that way.
Well, he just didn't want to go into all of it, because ultimately the new charge led to him getting his probation.
Right, because I'll tell you what the question was. The question was, is your ankle monitor related to the Whitaker case? And he said, well, yeah, without going into detail, yeah. And the reason it is because the Whitaker case potentially violated the probation from his old case.
Exactly.
That's how it's related.
But I would tell y'all something else too. And I think I've talked to Toddie about this before. When I was waiting on my own case to go to trial, I was at the eye doctor's getting glasses, and I was actually trying to pick out my glasses in the store. And my sister called me and she was like freaking out. She said, they've got your picture on the news. They're saying that you've been indicted. Da, 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 da. So I hang up with her and I immediately call my attorney. And he said, ma'am, he said, everybody. He said, I'm not saying that this isn't serious. He said, but 90% of stuff that goes in front of a grand jury receives an indictment. So it's not that it's not serious, but it's not uncommon. Do you see what I'm saying?
So the arrest comes first, then the indictment.
Well, not always, Kathy. Sometimes officer or detectives will work a case and they will take it to the grand jury. It just depends on what police department, because it can go different ways. Sometimes they'll indict people and then go arrest them. So
right.
Right.
Because that's what I saw, some cases that were, yeah,
I mean, it does happen that way.
They indict them, arrest them, and then release to the public the indictments.
Yes.
Release indictments before, they don't tell everybody that they're indicted and then go arrest them. So what happens might be later for the public than what they're doing. Yep.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot, like with politicians and stuff like that, like high profile, like really, you know what I'm saying? Big.
What happened?
Big people, but you know,
people of importance. Can I just? I want to address Red in the comments. So,
okay.
So I'm not trying to argue here. It is still an open case. Absolutely, it's still an open case. And my problem with this, Red, is okay. So you wrote that Eric went to the police and willingly gave everything up. Patrick didn't. Okay. Let's just take this and let's just say, how do we know that? Because Eric said so. Eric, I can't trust Eric. I don't trust Eric. So what did he do? Maybe he made up. Hang on one second. Maybe, just for sake of argument, without getting nasty, okay? And I'm not saying that you're getting nasty. I'm not getting nasty either, Red. But all we're going by is the two people that have been dishonest. And I agree, Patrick's been dishonest too. But Patrick has been charged here. Eric hasn't. So that's why we're talking about Eric and not Patrick. Patrick has been charged. Eric hasn't been charged. So that's number one why we're talking about Eric and not Patrick. So that, but how do we know that Eric didn't go and just try to set up Patrick and he's telling us something different? And that's why he's so upset, because he thought he was going to get some sort of immunity for maybe setting Patrick up, maybe. But I'm saying, I guess, Red, how do we know? We only know by what these both people have told us, and they haven't been honest.
Because Eric lied all summer about a lot of things, and then he lied that he went home. He said he lied. He said he lied, but he had a good reason to lie. And then he lied on Thanksgiving when he told everybody that his lawyer is going to pay the Whitakers right now. Merry Christmas. And that never happened.
I want to say, interject right there, Kathy. You know, there is no reason on God's green earth, if he paid the Whitakers, that he can't put proof out there. He's always talking about transparency. Mark put out every receipt. Remember, every deposit where he had sent Betty money, There is nothing that would stop Eric from being transparent like he claims that he wants to be. If he paid them, he needs to put the proof out there.
And I think that's valid. And I think if he did pay them, he would absolutely show the proof in our faces gladly. And Kathy and I have spoken about that.
Yeah.
Of course he would. Of course he would. Well done, Kathy. Yay!
All right, yay!
Your screen. Perfect.
I just found the button. Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, now you know what to do.
Yeah, now I know what to do. I don't know how it got hit before, but anyway, yeah, that's better. I just picked a big one and 2 little ones, and I didn't know what I was gonna do.
There you go.
You guys realize? Do you realize that you've got all 3 of the old women in the same chat or in the same panel?
Speak for yourself. I'm young.
Yeah, but you're older than me.
That's by a few days.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is interesting. Yeah, the 3 old ladies said that yep, that I guess some people have a problem with. I guess I don't know, Susan, you're gonna if you talk about Eric, you know, you might get a subpoena to get arrested or something. That's what we're told, because Eric doesn't want anybody saying that he's still a suspect. And yeah, so we've been threatened with lawsuits if we keep talking about Eric. So yeah,
I've got news for his little Chihuahua or little bulldog, whatever you want to refer to her as, the one that thinks that she's, you know,
she ain't so little.
Well, I know that, but issuing subpoenas and all that crap.
Yeah.
Subpoena me, baby. Sue me. You want to get me for defamation? Bring it on. Because asking questions is not defamation. And I think it's really important that we continue to ask questions, because it's like I said, I feel like everybody's saying, all right, let's focus on, look at all this money, look at this, Patrick did this, Patrick did that. But they're failing to keep an eye over here to the left. Where the hell did all that money go? And I mean, we're talking a lot of money.
Wait a minute. So you know how Eric didn't want that GoFundMe right off the go? So Mary Kopp here, do you see what she wrote? She said, Eric wasn't allowed to run GoFundMes because of previous bad GoFundMe dealings. So I heard.
Wow, that would make sense.
So that does make sense. Do you have any information that you could send to one of us on email or something? You can send it to Toddie1skip@gmail.com, or Kathy, if you want to.
No, she'll send it to you. You'll get it to me.
Kathy, I think that we need to maybe as a group or somehow or another, we need to start deep diving into the burn victim, and some of this other stuff that we're hearing about.
Well, no offense, but I think that's what Patrick is doing.
Yeah, I thought he was going to talk to the $80,000 burn people.
It says right here, yeah. Patrick is starting to show his receipts, and Eric is starting to freak out.
Yeah.
Patrick did say that he was talking to these people. I mean,
yeah, and that's what prompted Eric to go live and say, this is a video I didn't want to make. Yeah, that was that video, because he responded to Patrick.
But did you hear? I had to fast forward it, because it was just on and on and on, a bunch of absolute nothing about going to CPAC and all of that crap.
Yeah, that was hard. Yeah, that was hard to listen to.
Let me tell them what all of my accomplishments, honey. If anybody that has got money, if we wanted to buy a spot, we could go to that. You know what I'm saying? Just make you up a little banner and sit there and interview people.
But here's the thing, you know, he took the donation money. Pardon me, Susan, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's important that people know he took donation money. and used donation money for that, supposedly. That's
Yeah.
been said.
To basically promote
donation money
himself.
To promote himself and get a selfie with the president. With the donation money, that's an allegation. I didn't make that up. That was well before I came on with it. Even knew the guy's name.
Well, that was at some political dinner, but this CPAC thing where he met Charlie Kirk, you don't just walk in there and get that for free. Those are paid spots.
Right. Yeah,
you know,
and the one with the Trump, he had his family with, and his wife and his whatever friends or family, and they rented a limousine and all this stuff, and it was on the supposedly, allegedly, the dad talk dime, you know what I mean? And so people were upset about that because that he used that funds just to get a handshake with Trump. And then
he's a show off. He's a show off on other people's dime. He's a big shot on other people's dime.
And you know what?
Can I tell you something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm getting messages. Apparently, somebody's watching this.
Yeah.
It says, Eric did not want a GoFundMe because it's controlled and it shows a money trail. He didn't want a money trail. The burn victim was $120,000 of GoFundMe that went to Eric.
But here's the thing. Hang on one second, because I know this is from Patrick. But Patrick,
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
I know. But I've been on live streams where I've had Patrick text me. So, but here's the thing. I
did not say Patrick was texting me.
I know that. Okay. I know that. I'm assuming that. I know that.
Okay.
I know that. I'm assuming that. But here's the thing. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. But also Patrick, because I told him we were doing this. I spoke to Patrick earlier. I texted him earlier. I had a message somebody sent me that I sent to Patrick. But here's the thing. Patrick, you might not have known this. What somebody just said was there's already been problems with the GoFundMe. So it might not have been the reason that he told us. It might have been that he wasn't allowed to even touch the GoFundMe before he met you. And we're just finding this out now because somebody says, hey, he had problems with GoFundMe. He wasn't allowed to mess with GoFundMe. You had a GoFundMe account. You didn't have any idea that maybe he had this past with GoFundMe. He had it. He knew about it. So maybe he lied to you and us because he couldn't touch GoFundMe. We don't know that now.
Yeah, both Patrick and Eric both said they don't know each other. They didn't know about each other's past. So you might not have known if he had already burnt his
bridge with GoFundMe.
Yeah,
right.
Because people do it with Cash App. They do it with all kinds of things. You burn your bridge. So yeah, people say, well, you gotta donate here or whatever. So yeah, that happens. And so I'm sure it was also convenient because the paper trail was real, all over the place without the GoFundMe. So I'm sure, so I don't know if somebody has proof about that GoFundMe. You know what else I want to see proof of? I want to see proof that Robert Mass Foundation was taken down because he didn't pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see that proof too.
And it says that allegedly Eric also took $80,000 from the Father's Rights movement. And I think Eric was mentioning something that himself the other day, wasn't he, Kathy?
Exactly. I know that there's two things that are that skeletons that are coming out of his closet. One of them is the 80,000, and one of it is 120 or whatever it was.
Because you just said $200,000 before the text messages started coming.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Exactly. That's why I said just those two alone is $200,000. So yeah. So the one about the burn.
With the Father's Rights movement, there's a guy named Kenneth Rosa. I think I'll maybe try to reach out to him and see what I can find out. Because I think it's odd that Eric brought that up because I hadn't heard anything about that prior.
No, so the Father's Right movement with the 80,000. That's, you know how Eric was rambling in that video that you watched. You said it was really hard. Well, that was about that. Well, it was leading up. It was about a lot of stuff. I don't even know how many stories were wrapped in that first hour. It was just kind of confusing. But one of the stories they're talking about is a guy with father's rights who there was a problem with $80,000 missing. And he said,
Kenneth Rosa.
Okay, Kenneth Rosa. Okay, so he said that I should have sued him for defamation back then, but if he talks about it now, if he brings it up, I'll sue him this time. Yeah, he's a little rattled about that Kenneth Rosa one. That's what he was addressing. So if you go back and watch that, if you can, you know what I mean, because it's kind of brutal. But if you go back and sit through that, you'll see that that's what they're talking about. There's a guy for the Father's Right movement, and that's why Eric was trying to say from day one he didn't fit in because they were all wearing suits and he wasn't, and so Eric was all so different from the other Fathers Right, like they were pretentious or whatever. But he was trying to say that they're a bunch of phonies, and I was so different, and I didn't like wearing a suit, and that's how he didn't fit in. Remember, somebody snubbed him.
Always the victim.
Always the victim, and always, it's never his fault. And always the victim. So that's the 80,000 he's talking about. That's the Kenneth Rosa story right there. And that's what he's rattled about. And he said, you know what? I should have sued defamation suit. And I think that's what the title in the whole video is kind of about. He's afraid of that one coming forward. And so that's obviously one he's probably the most worried about. But he said, I was going to sue him for defamation before, but you know what? Says about it again. I will this time. So he's trying to intimidate, apparently, likely trying to intimidate Kenneth Rosa, not coming forward and telling his story. Oh, geez, I might be sued by Eric Carroll. You know what I mean? So he's trying to, I believe he's trying to intimidate him and scare him away from trying to go public. Because like I said, there's one after the other. It's the Trump dinner plate. It's the, and the 10,000 was just a plate, but there was also a trip and all his family and hotel stay and limousines and all this other stuff, dinners. You know what I mean? So that was a lot. The trip to Europe, nobody even talked about that. That's when I found, big trip and it's always the same people. I mean, always the same buddy. So yeah, I believe that Patrick was just used as a patsy. You know what I mean? Patrick, if Eric and his buddies are on a tour, which they are, Eric said he went to 46 cities in last year, or whatever. 2 years ago, he went to 46 cities in different states. Eric traveled 46 different states in 1 year. Him and his, friends, and so, I think
on everybody else's dime.
Right. And I think
got to be on everybody else's dime because how in the hell could he be holding down a job, earning an income for his family if he's out running up and down the road?
Right. And so Odd West Virginia was just one stop.
Exactly.
On the Rockstar tour, that how rock stars go city to city, state. Odd West Virginia was just a stop. So I think, but I gotta stop underestimating Odd West Virginia's police and underestimating their courts and their prosecutors because.
Hi, Steve.
Because I believe that I think that they're not dumb. You know what I mean?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
This is Susan's world hypothetical. This didn't happen. I'm just saying that in my mind, this could be what took place. Okay. I think that Mr. Carroll, I think that he was
so respectful.
Do what?
So why do you have to be so respectful?
Well, I really
is-
don't want to get sued unless unless I just
Right.
have to.
Yeah,
So
being
She was
this is,
respectful, I guess.
She was not. We're not going to sue him because she called him Mr. Carroll.
well, Mr. Lawrence Eric Carroll. This is what I think happened. Okay, I think that he was sitting around one day. He's looking for his next grift.
Mhm.
And I think that he comes across Patrick's Facebook page, and
Yep.
he thinks to himself, "Man, I could really blow this up. You know, this is good. And I think that he gets with Patrick, he meets with Patrick, and he thinks, well, this is some damn dumb hick. These are some dumb people up here, and I can really run. We can, but I need help." And I think that's when he started pulling his buddies in. And I think it was a grift from the get go. And that's just and I think these guys that came in, flew in and all that mess, I think they were they've probably been involved with him with stuff before.
Well, exactly. So I got one better than that.
Okay.
I think this. I think Eric Carroll has been waiting at his chance to get to the Whitakers because he has seen and he had watched Mark Leda. And then all of a sudden he looks and there's this one guy who, exactly what you said, some hick, some fucking hillbilly, pardon my language. I don't think that of you, Patrick, but I think that's the way Eric saw you. And he said, holy fuck, I could get in now. So I think he's been watching the Whitakers for a while, and he just was looking for his way of getting in there because he always saw the views. He saw everything, and that's what I think.
Well, I think, I'm not going to say
You and I think
I
the same
know.
thing. You and I, Susan, think the same thing. I just think that he was watching the Whitakers. You know what I'm saying? And then when he went to look back on the Whitakers, thank you, Kathy. When he went to look back on the Whitakers, he saw Patrick and said, wait a minute, where's Mark? He went and he realized that Mark wasn't around and that there was this guy there that he could
That
reach
he
out
thought
to.
was dumb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I
And
think.
I,
But
I
I think
want
he was
to
watching
say,
the
Yeah.
Whitakers.
I want to say too, that neither one of you ladies have ever been like in trouble with the police, but I'm looking at it from a different point of view here, and I want to put this forward. If you have a history with cops, if you've been in trouble, or let's say you had a court case, and when it went to court, you beat it. They may tell you that they don't get it in for people, but I'm telling you they do. And any cop that tells you that they don't, they're a liar. I think that in this particular instance, Patrick has a good long history with these cops up there. And perhaps some of them had a grudge, whatever. I think that's why that they jumped so quickly to charge him. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he's innocent or guilty. I'm just saying that sometimes if cops have it in for you, they have a bias.
Yes, I mean, I agree with that. I agree that there are some bad cops that don't wear the badge the way that they should.
Well, I agree that probably once this was going down, they were not upset about having to, arrest Patrick, but I still believe that, in other words, I think they took pleasure in it, you know what I mean? But I think it was that, like I said, the kind of the point of this video was that he's just a smaller fish that they're using on the first arrest while they keep the other one out. And I showed that this is a regular routine that a lot of times that they'll follow when they investigate is they'll arrest the easier, smaller one, and then let the bigger ones stay out while they do their,
Well,
investigation work.
Jackie, I guess it was one day last week when you were doing a live, and I was down in the chat, and I was trying to tell you we were talking about this cop, this West Virginia state trooper, and
Mhm.
he and his wife were best friends. I can't remember his name, but they were best friends with another couple, right? The husband and the wife ended up, I think she was a nurse practitioner. She was like involved in the medical field, right?
Mhm.
But they were good friends. Anyway, the woman ended up killing her husband, not the state trooper and his wife, but their friends. The nurse practitioner woman killed her husband, right? There was a bunch of shady stuff with that, and I can't remember their names, but they were on Creepalachia interviewed the husband and the wife, the cop, the state trooper and his wife after the
When did
case.
he?
And all
When did he do that?
that. I'll have to look it up
When-
for you. It was before
Yeah,
before the Patrick stuff. But that state trooper, the one that I'm telling you about, right? There was a
Mhm.
bunch of money and I think stocks and there was a bunch of shady stuff that went on between these two couples, right?
Mhm.
The woman ends up killing her husband. I think she poisoned him or something. Don't quote me. You just have to look it up. But anyway,
Right.
that particular state trooper is the one that went to Eric's Airbnb and took Patrick's criminal record. Now he was off duty. He was there with his wife. Why? If there wasn't some kind of personal grudge or personal vendetta, why would he do that?
Okay, so let's get this straight. So the crooked cop and his wife allegedly were in the Airbnb with Eric, right before the Whitakers went down.
You remember when Eric did the video and he was like trying to make out like was holding a Bible and it was just like a stack of papers. He was saying, "Somebody brought me this. Just look at this. Just look at this." He was like saying that was Patrick's criminal record.
Yes.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember that.
yeah.
It was the state trooper and his wife that went and took that to him at the Airbnb.
Wow. Why? And so, what's the connection between Eric and that couple? Do you know?
I don't think there's any connection. I'm just going back to the biased. When cops get it in for you, they're gonna get you one way or another. Patrick and I were talking about this the other day on the phone. My son beat several cases for just stupid stuff like the cops did an illegal search, on their part, stupid
Right.
stuff.
Right.
They could have put his ass away if they would have done their job correctly. So he had beaten several cases, and then eventually, they got tired of having dirt on their face. And
Right.
when they want you, they're gonna get you. They're gonna keep on. And I think Patrick has a long run in history with this particular state trooper.
Well, he does.
Didn't
He does because
Patrick's dad used to be a state trooper, right? Or a cop?
I don't know about that. He had never told me that.
Well, Eric just said on his live stream last week that the two things you gotta be careful about is a preacher's son and a cop's son. And he said, and Patrick's dad was a cop. That's what he said.
I don't know. I've never asked Patrick about his dad because it's my understanding he's deceased with me.
Yeah. And I think that's ironic that Eric's warning us when he's the son of a preacher and Patrick's the son of a cop. Anyway, but yeah, so you think that the state trooper and his wife or whatever, that couple had it out for Patrick, and so when they allegedly saw that Eric was willing to throw Patrick under the bus. He came with assistance to do so.
I think they were involved, and being in an Airbnb, if you're a cop and you're doing something under your job, the jurisdictions of your job, you know what I'm saying. You wouldn't have your wife along with you.
Why would he? Yeah, why would he bring the wife along?
Okay, and allegedly, and I stress that allegedly, the state trooper was a lot more involved in that. The guy that got murdered by his wife, there was a lot of stuff. But the state trooper and his wife, who were best friends with that couple, nobody got charged but the wife. Do you follow what I'm trying to put out there for you?
Well, but how is that?
4 people involved in some financial stuff, and then one of them ends up dead, but only one of the 3 got charged. I'm trying to paint you like a real
Not
open
my
picture.
monkeys. That's what she said, hon. Not my monkeys. That's what she said. That she thought Patrick's dad was a cop. Eric's dad was a preacher.
That's what he did. That's what Eric said, and I heard that before.
Well, she said. I think she said Patrick said that himself. I think that she's saying Patrick.
Patrick said it. Somebody said it. One of the two said it.
Patrick that said his dad was a cop, not Eric. That's what Not My Monkey said. I believe that.
Yeah, somebody said it.
But
one of the two.
Susan just said that she didn't know. She never asked Patrick because she knew that his dad was deceased. That's what she said.
Yeah,
listen, Susan, I heard
his dad was a cop. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, thank you, Patrick, for listening.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks, Patrick. Make sure to give me a thumbs up, Patrick. Yeah, so
I heard the same thing Susan says so just so you know, I heard the same thing about that that alleged biased.
You remember what was the guy's name? He hadn't been around in a while.
But I did hear about that alleged bias with the cop and the dirty cop, the alleged dirty cop.
The guy that was doing live streams and he was trying to get you to like do a challenge to take your channel down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. Henson, Big Ugly.
Big Ugly, yeah, I forgot about his name. Yeah. Well, Big Ugly was trying to tell everybody about this, but he was so like scattered and it just was not making any sense. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
No offense,
you can explain it right.
Yeah. He doesn't articulate very well. That's all. There's no big deal. He's scattered. He's a bit scattered. That's all.
Somebody brought this up. Somebody just got the middle finger. Wait just a minute. Let me see if this is for me or if this is for Toddie.
It's probably for me. I guarantee it's for me.
Hell, it might be for me.
He's only got 2 middle fingers to put up, so
he's got to wisely. For you, Kathy.
That's what I said. Thank you.
She's
yeah. So I mean, what is the connection with Eric though? So this cop and his wife.
No, I don't think that Eric does not have any connection, any relationship with any of those cops up there. If he's trying to present that, then he's just, in my opinion, he's doing what he always does, is tries to make himself look like he's more than what he is. You know what I'm saying?
Like a name dropper.
Yes, absolutely. He's a little piece of slimy shit under people's shoes, but he's willing to pay, allegedly, but he's willing to beg for donations and use money to go to places that, just like, we were talking about the Trump dinner and the CPAC where he interviewed Charlie Kirk. That was all bought and paid for.
Yeah, with money that should have gone, to people that needed it. So there's $200,000 that's in question that I think
that's just two cases. That's just two of them.
But that's 200. That's enough money to get them to pay attention, and that's where. So let me just tie. I don't want to end this, but I want to tie it up real quick because I think that we're losing something here. So what Kathy has shown us is that textbook to go after something like this. Textbook takes 1 to 3 years. The way that they do it when there's two or more people involved is they get what they consider the littler fish. In this case, we'll call him Patrick. No offense against Patrick. Get him, throw everything to make him squirm. He's already got problems, right? He's already got his own problems. So now that's added onto it in hopes that he's going to tell him everything on Eric. Now, Eric, who's from a different state, there's a lot more money involved. And now we've just shown you, Kathy's shown you, Patrick has shown you 2 questionable GoFundMe's or whatever the money, however that money was kept. And where's that money gone? So it seems to me with what Kathy showed, she didn't make it up. You guys could look it up yourself. When she went over this with me, to me, everything went bing, 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 bing. And I said, Kathy, you have to go live. She said, well, I am going live. And I said, okay, then I have to go with you because I think this is great. And I want to be a part of this. So it's very important that we don't lose track of that, because that's really important when we sit here and get upset. Well, how come Eric's not charged? How come only Patrick's charged? Eric should be charged as well. Okay, I'm not saying I'm saying Eric should be charged as well. Obviously, there's more money that Eric took, and the exploitation.
And that's a huge question. It's a huge question. You see it in every single chat. You see it over and over. Why hasn't Eric been charged? And it's kind of comforting to say, well, his is going to be a little more complicated. But now 9 months later, it's people like, okay, it's been 6 months or almost that Patrick was arrested. So people are starting to lose faith in like, oh, maybe Eric will never be. But nope, you can just look at Eric and you can see it all. It's written all over him. He's nervous. And that's why he lashed out at the West Virginia State Police for naming him a suspect, because I showed here that in order to be named a suspect, they have to have enough evidence against you to convict you. Is that what it said? Or charges or whatever?
Right. So, right. Yes. The preponderance of evidence.
Yeah. Well, you guys know too, Kathy, like you're saying, people keep asking in the chat, why hadn't he been charged? And then on the flip side of that, you have all the people that are Eric supporters, and what's the first thing that they say? All of this stuff got done.
Exactly.
They say Patrick did all of this before Eric got involved. Okay, that goes to my point. What Patrick is charged with. What Patrick is charged with was Patrick he was not in control of the money after Eric came into the picture. All he had was his Facebook page.
Okay, so that's another thing that was in their manual for how their operations is that they always go chronologically, and I almost fell out of my chair. Wow, because what happened? The complaint, the police report or whatever, that even the one that released the summary basically says, Patrick Rourke was charged. It was this, and this. Everything was about Patrick in that complaint or whatever it was. The only one mention of Eric was that he was the one that helped out with the social media. and then it was Patrick, but you know what I mean? So the whole complaint was about Patrick. And they're saying it was basically they're focusing on May. They're focusing, I know the investigation goes from May to September, but if you look, they mentioned mostly the May part. And I thought that's interesting because they're focusing on the part before Eric came in the picture. And it just dawned on me, yes, they are. That's exactly, they're going chronological, just like their thing said, they go chronological. So first, Patrick comes in and he does these things that they don't like, right? And so if you look at the complaint, it's about things that Eric did. I mean, that Patrick did before Eric came in the picture. I mean, do you agree, Susan? You saw or Toddie, you guys saw the police thing,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they put it out to West Virginia
all before Eric.
Yeah, because because
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
like
know
one
that.
of you,
I didn't know that,
one
but
of you
that's the
just
way it seems to be going. That's the way it seems to be going. I didn't know that until you just said that.
and
Yeah.
just for the record, when Patrick was doing his Facebook before Eric came in the picture, he was not monetized back in May.
Right, I know that. In fact, that's what the whole point of Eric coming in is to monetize his Facebook and then open up all these multiple social medias and monetize them too. That was his job. And that's why Patrick to this day has his own Facebook, because Patrick had that Facebook for a long time before Whitaker's. So that's his, and it's always been and always will be. So he monetized that and then opened up the YouTube and all these other venues, or these other outlets. So that's what happened, and that's why he's in charge of everything but the Facebook.
Right, and all of the money, like I'm not monetized on here. I know you are, and Toddie is. However, y'all receive your money like on a monthly basis, or I don't know how they pay you.
Yeah.
But all of that money that started coming in the latter part of June from the social media platforms was going to Eric, with the exception of Patrick's Facebook page.
Right.
So when Eric was saying, I wanted him to give me the Whitaker's part of the money.
I can't hear her anymore. Can you?
I think you cut out. No, Susan cut
Whitaker's
out.
part of the money that was
wait a
coming.
minute. Susan, you got to repeat yourself because you cut out completely. We didn't hear anything.
Yeah, just go back about 20 seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so Eric came in and got Patrick's Facebook thing monetized. So money started coming in the latter part of June. Okay, so that money was being paid directly to Patrick. Okay, the other social media platforms that Eric Carroll set up were being paid directly to Eric Carroll, like the YouTube. We were talking about the donations that came in.
Yeah,
those were going to Eric.
Right. And I think most people know that. Patrick was in charge of the Facebook money. Eric was in charge of every single thing else.
But people tend to get confused when they keep hearing Eric say, well, I had the money, and I tried to give it to the APS. I tried to give it to the state police. Nobody would take it. The money he's referring to was the money that Patrick gave.
All the other platforms,
That Patrick gave him.
Wait a minute, hang on. Wait a minute. Whoa. Wait. Susan, I can't hear what Susan's saying. Susan, what are you saying that the money's from? Because I can't hear you.
The money, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. The money that Eric kept saying, he keeps repeating himself, saying that he was trying to give this money to APS. He tried to give the money to the state police. They assured him that he would not leave with that money. They just had to figure out what to do with it, right? people are assuming that the money he's referring to is this big, huge amount of money that was from the earnings, right? It's
Yeah.
not.
Right.
The money that he had in his hands was the money that he kept saying, Patrick, I want the Whitaker's part. Give me the Whitaker's part from the Facebook page.
Yeah, you're right. That did happen.
It
So
wasn't.
that money isn't the large sum of money. That
No.
money. Hang
No.
on. Wait. Hang on, please. So I'm trying to understand. So the money that Eric was talking about wasn't from all the platforms. It was just the money that Patrick had gave him to give to the Whitakers. Is that what I'm understanding?
Exactly.
Okay, I did not know that. And I have something I want to ask. I don't know if anybody's paying attention in the chat, but Marshmallow says Patrick's Facebook has been demonetized for bullying and violent threats. I know nothing about that.
Well, actually, it was demonetized because he got in trouble for telling some lady that she looked like she had a booger on her lip or something.
His Facebook got demonetized.
Yeah, that's what they're
Yes.
saying in the
Yeah,
chat.
we talked about this in my live when he came on live, to let everybody know that he was coming to YouTube full time. I wasn't going to bring it up, but he mentioned it during the live.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that. So he got demonetized on Facebook. So he probably is going to be able to be monetized on YouTube pretty soon. He's got well over 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I think the
Facebook the views.
The Facebook demonetization. I've got dip in my mouth. I think that's just for a limited amount of time. It may even be up by now. You know how if you get in trouble, suspend you for a little while.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know about Facebook, but okay. So it got maybe just pause for a minute, and he'll get it back.
Yeah, I never got. Okay, he's not demonetized anymore on Facebook. My bad.
Okay. So they just. Sometimes those, I guess, do that, right? All right. Well, that's good.
I never could get monetized because when people would say something to me, I would clap back. And I mean, every time I turned around, they were getting me for something. And I finally just said, screw it. I said, I can't do this. Because I spend a lot more time on Facebook than I do on YouTube. And when somebody would say something to me, I just, hot-tempered, I would say something back, and they would report me. And they just kept moving mine out further and further and further. And I said, well, just screw this. And I said, I'll just make my page back, like it was, just, family and friends.
Yeah, I don't really do Facebook. I heard that they're pretty strict. Stricter than YouTube a lot more, that's for sure. But anyway, I don't blame it. Marshmallow said Patrick has zero income now. Well, so I don't blame him. He's under house arrest. If you can make money off of social media, I guess he's got every right.
He'll be doing it on YouTube.
Well,
right. I mean,
he's got a right to earn a living,
he does.
just like everybody else does.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, it ain't hate for me, man. If you gotta make money off social media, especially he's bound to the house or whatever. So, no, I don't blame him for trying to monetize. Good for him.
Do y'all have any more questions?
No.
No, I think are good. But you got back to what you're doing, and anyway, I do. You need to leave?
Well, I think that was Patrick, to be honest with you, asking if we had any more questions. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Patrick.
Oh, I thought you're asking us. Okay. Is he asking us?
But you or Toddie one mentioned a while ago about how they will bring one person in and charge them and then see if they can get all of the dirt on the bigger fish, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if y'all watched it. I had it on my old channel, but I just recently I had to pull it off of StreamYard and put it on the new channel. My little video I made, I had a dream.
Yep.
Well, that tells you all you need to know.
I believe that. I believe that. I believe that I believe it's just a matter of time before Eric gets charged here officially.
Yeah, I think people need to be patient. It can take 1 to 3 years. That's what those articles were saying. It can take 3 years, especially if they have to sort through emails and like I said, think of all the people who time after time, every one of these things with Eric. You have Eric, you have Jeff Morgan. Like I said, he's in Texas. You got Mark Escobar, he's in California. You got Robert Mass in Idaho. You got he's got his brother, I guess, involved at this time. And
you know, for all we know, and I'm just being hypothetical here, okay? For all we know, if let's just say that the West Virginia State Police started digging into him and they were like, oh my God, this is such a big can of worms.
Right.
And they very well may have handed that on over to the feds.
Well, they would have to because
it's interstate, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And look at how many states are involved. Because the thing is, it could start with the Whitakers, but now they would find out about the John Mast thing or the Robert Mast thing, and then they would find out about the Byrne thing. And, you know what I'm saying?
And about the father's rights money, and I mean, we don't know at this point what.
And it's funny because you know who I totally forgot with those buddies, Dwayne, and he's in Texas, and Dwayne. As suspiciously, he has backed out. And Patrick, or somebody said, somebody asked him a question, I think, on one of his live streams about giving the signals with Dwayne. And he said, Patrick was honest. He said, yes, Dwayne was going by the hand signals that they're giving about move on to the question or not. But somebody asked, was Dwayne suspicious of anything, or was he just as culpable? You know, was he going along with it willingly and he knows what's going on?
I distinctly remember after the family got taken and Eric did a live stream with Dwayne and people were sending in donations, and Dwayne looked really pissed off. And he said, I didn't think we were going to do this. I didn't think we were going to take any more. Do y'all not remember that?
I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments. I'm sorry, I'm reading.
I can't see the comments. But do you remember that, Kathy? You know the live stream I'm talking about.
Yep. Yeah, I do. Yep. And it probably might have been the last one with Dwayne, because it was at least one of the last ones, right? Because I think it was Friday, September 5th. In the evening when Eric called off the deal, and there was a long live stream, so some people are coming in after half an hour, and doesn't know the deal's off, and they're still putting in money. And and I don't really, I'd have to go back and look at Dwayne, because I didn't know till after the fact that Dwayne was getting kind of uncomfortable with all this, but it looked like 90% of it looked like he was all in on it and enjoying the hell out of it. You know what I mean? And so,
I think originally he didn't understand what was going on. This is just my opinion, but you can see on his face, and he even says to Eric, I didn't think we were going to be taking. I didn't think we're going to. I can't remember how he worded it, but some to the effect of we're not supposed to be taking these donations. You know, Eric had already left, vacated, you know, and he was doing this live stream. I think that's the one where he was like doing all the gabbing about the Airbnb or something. I've got stuff. I just wait till I can talk, and I can tell you. You remember which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's why I
So
was asking if you still had some of the clips, because those were on the YouTube channel that has been taken down.
right. I'd have to look. I'd have to look to what I got. 'Cause I got a lot of clips, but yeah. So right after Dwayne was the one who texted Eric and informed him. Eric said him and his brother were playing video games. You know what I mean? And informed him that he was a suspect or something like that. Or maybe that was when Patrick got arrested. But he said nonetheless, he got a text from Dwayne, and then they sent a screenshot of, all them articles that got put up saying Eric is a suspect, and his picture. Well, he sent that to Eric, and right after that, Dwayne put up that video about why I'm not going to help anybody anymore, something like that. Why I'm done trying to help people, or something like that. And I think everybody thought that it was speaking about the Whitakers, right? But
well, from my understanding, Eric had Dwayne in charge of the Whitaker's family page.
Oh yeah. He did the website. That's who he said he hired someone for the website. That was Dwayne. Dwayne, he got paid. He got some money, but I think that not going to help anybody. I think that was directed at Eric, because I think it
was too.
Yeah, because it took a lot of jabs at Eric and the Whitakers and Patrick. Even the Whitaker's house, he took jabs at everybody.
And if you notice, after he did that, he's not been back on with Eric anymore.
Nope. And it's funny because Eric mentioned, I think it was around when he had his pity party, I think around January or somewhere, maybe Christmas. He said that, it's been really lonely. Everybody abandoned me except for my friend Jeff. And he goes, oh, Robert Mass sent me a Christmas card. That was nice. But yeah, I noticed right from the beginning, he kept, when he's thanking people, it was Dwayne was gone. He's out of the picture. And then he would say something like, oh, I forgot about Jeff Morgan. He was a good friend back in the day, So Jeff Morgan kind of came back in the picture. But again, he thanks Jeff. He thanks Mark, Robert Mass, but he doesn't, Dwayne's been out of the picture. So I'm wondering if the investigators maybe are talking to Dwayne, because he obviously washed his hands, from the time, at least from the time that the investigation named Eric.
Exactly.
Yep, washed his hands.
Right, hang on. So somebody's saying, Toddie, get Kathy's attention because Eric's friend makes references to them getting clients from different states.
Yes.
To people with developmental issues.
Yes. So thank you, TNT. So it was Mark Escobar, and when he was doing that angry rant at adult protection in Raleigh County and all these people, right? He was going nuts. He accused adult protection of killing his friend's husband, and he said he looked him straight in the eye and said, "You guys killed my friend's husband." Remember that? Thinking, wow, he's gone off the deep end. And he's saying,
yes, I do. I do remember that.
Okay, and he was saying, in Raleigh County, you cops and sheriffs or whatever, you guys dropped the ball. We had to come up there and do your job. And he said, do you know how many states we've been to? We've been through this. That's what he said. Is that what you're talking about? He said something like, you know how many states we've dealt with? We've dealt with this and we dealt with that. Yeah, this is not our first rodeo. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, what? He's been through this before? Multiple times? It's kind of weird.
That's exactly.
Mhm.
That's exactly the point. Is that
Mhm.
he has too many. His past
Yeah.
is repeating itself, and
Yeah.
I know somebody in the comments said, and it's somebody that I like very much in the comments, so I'm not trying to rag on them at all, but fraud is fraud, and if somebody finds something out about somebody, I and so there's things that have come out about Eric. I don't know the statute of limitation when it comes to how long fraud is in different states, because it's not universal.
Right.
So
Right.
um what Kathy read and what Kathy shared with me, which is what she shared here, it it made sense to why Eric hasn't been picked up yet. And I say
Right.
yet because I think it's going to happen. And when
Yeah.
she
Me
was
too.
reading everything, it was textbook. It makes
Yeah.
sense to me. And I think that they do care about patterns. I think that they absolutely do care about patterns.
Yeah.
And if there was fraud, the $200,000 just for what we found out, right? However we found it out, just
Right.
what we found out, not investigators,
And,
not police, just us, okay?
yeah.
Whether it be because
And
Patrick mentioned it, or Kathy mentioned it, that's a lot of money. So
Mhm.
they definitely would care about the past.
Right. And like Susan said, the cops don't like to get egg on their face, don't like to be made fools out of. And Eric kind of made fools out of everybody, the cops, the court system, the adult protection, the restraining order people. He made fools out of everybody.
And then
I,
doubled
I
down, then
believe
got pissed off and
Right.
doubled down about it not
that's
long
Yeah.
what I
And,
was
ago.
going to say, Toddy. I
yeah.
believe that either he's being questioned, something went
Hmm.
down between Eric and the cops, in my opinion, because all of a sudden he's trashing everybody. He's
Right.
trashing the
That's what
cops,
yeah.
he's trashing
Yeah.
APS. Yeah,
I
something
think,
went
okay,
down.
here's what I think happened. So I was making videos about how Eric is still a suspect. He's not been released. He's still a suspect. I made a phone call and asked Raleigh police, is he still a suspect? That lady, I anyway, she got a little patient with me, but she said no. He's not been cleared. Basically, she said, what you see in the paper is what you get. That's nothing's been updated. And then he I think, and this is just a theory, that he saw all the buzz about is Eric still a suspect or isn't he? So I think Eric called to ask them, am I still a suspect? And I think my theory is they said, yeah, you're not released as a suspect. And then I think he lost his mind, got his friends up there, and started attacking the police. Hey, we're supposed to get immunity. Why am I still a suspect? So we
Yeah,
got
because
Jeff
the
up there.
douche guy mentioned that. Remember
What?
when he claims when they went in to talk to the police or something? You know it better than I do, Kathy. When he was doing the live stream, when Eric and the douche guy was doing the live stream, and he brought it up that about being at the police department.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're at the adult protection, and they said, well, you're named a suspect or so. I thought well, I don't know if they were still there, but Eric said to the adult protection, hey, why am I named a suspect? I thought I wasn't going to be or something like that. And they're like,
Mhm.
shrugged shoulders, basically, like, we can't help what the cops do. You know what I mean? And then he felt like double crossed. And then he didn't get Timmy, more double crossed. And now he's not cleared. So that's why I think he blew up because I think I think he demanded to know if he was cleared or not, and they said no.
Well,
That's just my
think
guess.
about this. If this is how I view him. Okay, we all saw, the world saw the I call it like the little temper tantrum, pitching a pitching a little bitch fit out there on the porch that day when he says that he saw BJ's fingers in the window.
Yep.
Remember, I mean, how he just like went off, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And he said himself the other day on the live that we didn't see it all. That we didn't see everything like that went on the porch that day. So if he would carry on like that, like have such a temper that he would go off, I guarantee you that what we're seeing on the live stream is a mild cut down version of the way he's been talking to the cops and to APS. Especially once he found out that he wasn't going to get Timmy.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so William said, Kathy and Toddie, are you scared that Eric will sue you for defamation as he threatened? Actually, I want to correct, because I don't know, somebody's spreading that rumor, but when Eric said he was going to sue for defamation, he was talking about that guy, what's his name? Kenneth Rosa. He was talking about the guy from Dad Talk. That's who he said he's going to sue for defamation, because the guy accused him of taking all that money a few years back. And so he said, I should have sued him back then, but if he brings that up again, I'm going to sue him for defamation. So he wasn't talking about us. Somebody else who can't follow along very well took that and started spreading the rumor that it was us he was going to sue, and that's no. He never said that. He said he was going to sue the people from the Dad Talk community, or dads, or whatever.
It's my understanding that when people are using drugs or alcohol, or I think their perception is off. They don't quite comprehend what they're. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I think somebody didn't know how to follow the story very good, and they might need to, maybe
watch it when they're not messed up.
Yeah, maybe sleep, take a nap or something. Yeah.
So I want to clarify some things. Whose dog is that? Is that your dog, Susan?
That's Lucy. Yeah, she's jealous because I'm talking to y'all.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I just want to clarify some things that Eric was responsible for. Okay. So just to make it as simple as possible. So Eric was responsible for the Whitaker Family West Virginia YouTube channel.
Yes.
The TikTok Whitaker Family West Virginia.
Yes.
The Whitaker Family X Twitter. Okay. The Instagram Whitaker Family West Virginia. Another YouTube Whitaker Family West Virginia. Cameo, the Whitakers, and the Whitaker Family. I think this was another Facebook page. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things that that Eric had, and I've seen this. Okay, I've seen where this money goes to Eric. It goes to his Dad Talk, to the LLC on the Dad Talk.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So,
why would he mix it in with his own personal?
It's Dad Talk Studios LLC. I'm looking at it.
So when they send in like PayPal or whatever, that's where that money's going.
The correct PayPal, the PayPal that was given out is Dad Talk Studios LLC. Now that's not Patrick, that's Eric.
Exactly.
Right.
Oh, well, ladies, I'm going to have to get off of here because she's pitching a fit, but I appreciate your time and I appreciate you letting me come up, and it was nice talking to y'all. And stop, Lucy. She says good night.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for coming up, Susan. I appreciate
All right.
your
Thank
input.
y'all.
And yep, good night to Lucy.
She said good night, Lucy. All right. How'd I get off?
See you later. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
Exactly.
Was
Yeah,
Twitter
so
on that list and all that TikTok and or whatever? Was that on the list? It said 7 minimum.
hang on, because
7 platforms minimum, and then there was Patrick's own Patrick.
so I found something that Patrick has sent me. I'm gonna read it, and I'm hoping he's not gonna get mad.
Okay.
So
He never gets mad at us.
all right, so this this I think would have been the first correspondence between Eric and Patrick. So I tried reaching out to you on Facebook, but it didn't go through. I have a podcast with close to 1.5 million followers online, man, and I came across your videos, and I'll admit at first I was skeptical because I know this family has been used for sensationalism. I can see their eyes light up when you're around, and what you've been doing with Timmy is awesome. I was the son of a pastor, and my dad was very big on helping families like this. One of the girls that went to his church was
Oh boy.
essayed by her own dad and ended up having a kid. He's obviously in prison for life, but the child was born and she went to my dad's church as well, and he took care of her for years. I hate how they've been used for clicks and views. I really do. Funny, huh? Obviously, because of that, people are going to suspect something's going on with you, and I can see this. GoFundMe is not taken off like that as it has with Mark. I'd love to invite you on the show to talk about how you know the family and your connection and also help you promote this GoFundMe. I'd love the opportunity, man. My podcast don't usually talk about stuff like this. I've been all over the world trying to get laws passed to help fathers have rights to their children. Every so often I talk on other subjects, and this is one I'd really like to talk to you about. Just let me know. Hope you're well, and it's awesome what you're doing, man. I'm from the deep south, and I have a strong accent too, and people love to shit on that, which they have no clue about. There is nothing like Southern hospitality, and our people look after our own. Oh, he was feeding him shit from the get-go, and I
Oh
truly
yeah.
believe that's what you're trying to do. Hope you get this. My phone number is, and then he gives his phone number. Please do not share that as I get overwhelmed with messages, but text me anytime you're willing to talk and let's set it up. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've read that before, I guess, and it just never like hit like that. Of course, hindsight is 2020.
Right.
And I mean, that just seems like a bunch of unfortunately manipulation. And
Yeah.
unfortunately,
So
Patrick fell for it.
yeah. So right away, preacher's son. We had somebody essay just like Lorraine. You know what I mean? The same old crap. But I'm surprised anybody would even look at such a long message. You know what I mean? But anyway, so for the people who say that Patrick went on looking on Dad Talk for him, right there it shows you who reached it. And obviously, listen, Patrick's got the prize, right? So who do you think reached out to who?
Well, yeah, and I definitely think he was watching that family. He was watching the Whitakers with Mark. I think that that's true, that Eric was watching the Whitakers with
Yeah.
Mark, but absolutely saw no way in. And then
Yep.
when he turned around and saw what Patrick was doing, I think he saw a way in.
Yeah, and like not my monkey said, receipt. Who can't contact to do right there? There's your receipt. There's your receipt. And of course, Eric needs Patrick. Patrick wasn't out looking on Dad Talk. You know what I mean?
Do you know
come on.
his dad? You know, I heard this. Somebody had sent this. I need to look into it. But apparently, apparently, the apple just doesn't fall far from the tree. I think that I think that um I think that everybody was collateral damage for just fucking money. And it kills me because I really wish I wonder what would have happened if Eric had not been involved.
Oh, I think Patrick could still be doing videos probably.
Yeah, okay. But I think that the Whitakers would have had a little bit of money with that too. They certainly wouldn't have been split up.
No, I don't believe that. If Eric never showed up, no.
Maybe organically through watching these videos, the same community of the people,
Right.
meaning the people in the comments and stuff like that, would have came together and said, "Hey, listen, why don't we try to help this family?"
I think
that might have come together on its own.
I think Patrick had just started doing those videos. Had he given it a little time, it would have blown up organically. And just like you said, it would have blown up on its own over a few months. You know what I mean? Because it was starting to, get traction. And obviously, because, came up in my feed, came up in other people's feed, came up in Eric's feed, he got it, yeah, people started seeing it. And I think Eric sped up the process, but I think had he just done it on his own, I think eventually, but by midsummer, it would have been blown up on it, without Eric. I mean,
oh, absolutely. I think organically, and I think that there was some really good stuff happening between between Timmy and Patrick.
Yeah.
Some stuff I didn't agree with. I'm not going to pretend that everything was okay with me, but it wasn't about me. You know what I mean? I'm not a guy. I'm not, a man in my 40s. So, but I, I definitely think that Eric. I mean, the thing that gets me so pissed about Eric is he didn't have to fucking split up the family. That's the thing that fucking, and I can't let that go. So Red, let me say something. So Red, and I'm not calling you out. I mean, I am, but not in that way. So I guess the thing that I can't get over, and the thing that I will always hold Eric accountable for, and just so fucking angry at him, is because he split up the family. Patrick didn't. And I would be sitting here saying the same thing about Patrick if he'd have split up the family. But Eric created that.
Right, because his goal was
Patrick should have stood up. Patrick should have stood up and said, "Hey, this isn't okay with me."
Right.
Well, fucking Eric did that, and that's my biggest issue with Eric, is that he did that.
Right.
And now look, especially now, we look and he's like he's like blaming it on other people, like he didn't even do it. And he was the one that created the urgency.
It's so funny. It's so funny because now he's standing back saying, "Isn't that terrible, you guys, that Betty can't see her family?" Like,
exactly.
What's wrong with that? Dude, that's psychopath right there. You know what I mean? Yeah, isn't that terrible how Betty can't see her family? She loved her family. Like, okay.
And then how he sits around and says how he got ripped off so bad, that he was treated unfairly, that he wasn't allowed to see Timmy. His own aunt was taken from him. What about Betty? What about BJ? What about Larry? I mean, what about Kenneth? What about his family?
Right, everybody around there, and they're home. I mean, just because the three are together, they're not at home. Imagine just leaving cops hauling you off, never get to go home again. Like, you didn't even get prepared. I wasn't even prepared. You know what I mean? Like, then it gets to say goodbye. There's nothing. It wasn't packing clothes, nothing. Yeah, it's pretty rough. But
Hey, Red,
I mean,
hang on, Red. It's okay. We're not going to agree on this, but I'm just telling you that is my big thing with Eric. That is it. That is the huge thing that I have that I just can't get past with Eric. So I mean, we don't have to agree. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from, and I get what you're saying. Go ahead, Kathy. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I think right away from the very first visit, Eric, I believe personally, in my opinion, that Eric's goal was to isolate Timmy and get him back to his house because that's where the views were. That was the money. And when Patrick was doing videos, it was basically fun with Patrick and Timmy. You know, it was the fishing, it was this, it was that. And that's what attracted people, right? But when Eric took over, once he got his face on camera, he just couldn't keep his face off. He was supposed to be working behind the scenes, but it turned from the Patrick and Timmy doing outings and stuff into Eric and Timmy in the Airbnb, making them cry, you know, making them think his family, you know, getting them to these court dates and you know what I mean. It just turned into a horror movie. It was like just video to video. It went from something good and fun and everybody happy and Betty clapping her hands and stomping her feet to the music and Timmy having fun and all this shit. And then pretty soon it's making Betty cry and you know what I mean, and Timmy's crying and just like what in the hell happened? And now nobody's doing anything fun. It's all trapped in the Airbnb, surrounded how good of a parent Eric is, and now he understands adoption. You guys, I never understood it. You know what I mean? I understand adoption now. That's what it was from the beginning. And he just went too hard, too fast. And it just went off the rails, exploded. You know what I mean? He wanted Timmy as fast as possible back at his house.
And he wanted Tim, and I totally believe he was willing to take Timmy from even Patrick. I don't think he was willing to. The only thing that I think he would have gone back and forth was because maybe Timmy would be too much. But let me say something to this too, okay? In all fairness, okay? Because we see that a lot of this stuff happened when Patrick broke his leg. So not only do I feel like Eric took advantage of, the fact that he might be what he thinks is a better businessman than Patrick, but he also took advantage of somebody that couldn't even bust his ass. You know what I mean? Like he couldn't even stand up for things when things were going wrong at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like when you look at where everything kind of shifted and those people came, the other people came, his friends came and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he had Eric, he had Patrick in the Airbnb, whomever wanted to go there. It doesn't matter. I don't care who wanted to go there. There was a lot of shady things that were being done. I know behind Patrick's back. Okay, in regards to the family. So
right, but right, so it was a lot of shady stuff, and I believe that he told Patrick that he was going to co-parent with him.
Storm. It was almost like a perfect storm that happened. Unfortunately,
Yep, and I think Patrick went along with some of the stuff because he thought he was going to get half ownership of Timmy or something. But Eric had the plan to rip the rug out from Patrick long before that. But that's the way that he got Patrick to go along with it because he had dangled that carrot that, hey, we're going to be co-parenting. I mean, and at the last minute, he knew he was going to pull it. I think he was hoping, first of all, I believe that Eric was the one that called the adult protection. In my opinion, I think Eric called the adult protection on Patrick in July when he was away with Robert Mass. I believe that because the adult protection came over and Patrick told him to get the F off my property, and they did, and they closed the case. And Eric was furious, right? Now, Eric says, I never even heard of adult protection, but they screwed up because when him and Mark Douche were talking a few weeks back on a live stream, um, Eric, well, they were talking about stuff that happened in the past. And wait a minute, Mark was talking about dealing with adult protection. Remember? How can his
Right.
best friend be dealing with adult protection for years, long enough for them to kill his friend's husband or whatever? So how did Eric never hear about adult protection? You know why he said that? He said that to deflect in case anybody thought it was him. He's like, what? What? Adult what? AP what? Oh, I never heard of them. That's why I think he played dumb. But it's common sense that if his mom and dad had adults adopted in their home or whatever, caretakers of it, of course they know adult protection. And your friend Mark here just admitted that you guys have been working with adult protection for years in all these different states. One was, I don't know what he was naming off different states. So for Eric to throw that out to make sure everybody thinks that, oh, I don't even know who they are. But I believe that first he tried to knock out Patrick with the adult protection, saying Patrick can't hang around Timmy anymore. That would have got him, all to himself. When that didn't work, I think he was hoping that Patrick would get sent away for his jail sentence at the end of July. That didn't work. And he's also trying to knock off not just Patrick. I believe he's trying to knock off BJ too. He's trying to knock out the competition. I mean,
yeah, anybody that can stand up against him. Anybody that can stand up against him.
Yeah. And so if you look back at hindsight, you can see it.
Yeah, because it's the same pattern.
Right. Oh, Susan's back. And yeah, so I would like to know a question for Patrick. First of all, did he see the trooper and the wife? Is he the one that saw him go in the Airbnb? I think so. But my other question is, Patrick was never introduced to Eric's friends, right? So did Patrick ever lay eyes on that mystery man that we never knew? It was Robert Mass. It was his friend from out of state. Who was that friend from out of state? And it was Mark and I don't even know who else. But yeah, so he had those people in the hotel. So who was the guy that not only flew in from another state? And another thing, I want to know if Patrick knows, because Eric is saying that all his friends got reimbursed, or he was going to reimburse his friends after the falling out. He said, all right, I'm so mad. This whole thing didn't work out. He didn't get Timmy. He said, you guys, I'm just going to pay my friends for all their expenses because of what happened. I think all his friends got their plane tickets and all their travel stuff, and everything was reimbursed just the way I think he planned it. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, my question is, the guy from out of state, not only did Robert Mass fly in from Idaho, Mark flew in from California, Robert Mass' friend flew in from somewhere and ended up, I think they had to pick him up in North Carolina. So you know how much traveling that is? And then they all go to the Amish place, you know what I mean? So,
right.
Yeah, all of that got reimbursed, and I'm 100% sure Eric just took it off the top.
Well, I think Susan's going to ask Patrick now. I'm looking in the comments.
Yeah, ever meet the mystery man?
Somebody asked her if she could ask him, and she said, hang on.
Yeah, because, so who are these people coming and going? And, and the sad, horrible thing about everything is that Whitaker's never got a dime. They got some potato chips, they got some snuff, $250, but everybody made money except for the Whitakers. Everybody. Eric's friends, Patrick and Eric both made money. All of Eric's friends made out like bandits. Dale got free trips, full expenses, all this bullshit. So he's got 3 friends. Eric and his 3 friends, they all made out like bandits. The guy at the Airbnb, he got his palm greased. You know what I mean? He got an extra 1,500 or whatever it was. And plus all the money for putting up them TVs and stuff. So the Airbnb guy, Doug, he made out great. Everybody made out except for the Whitakers. In fact, it cost them 500 to get BJ out of jail. That's it. You know what I mean? But so that was more.
Marshmallow, I don't think BJ's in jail for what? She's not in jail now that I'm aware of. For
Are you
what?
talking to me? No, I said when she got arrested for the copper.
No,
She's
Marshmallow had asked a couple times if BJ was in jail, and she was like, "Can y'all see?" Because she asked a couple times. So I'm just saying, I don't know of her being in jail right now.
I don't know. I don't know about right now,
Red is
but
saying no. Red, I guess, is saying no.
yeah, because she already went to court. She was transferred to circuit court, and she went to circuit court. And I saw I actually FOIA'd that and watched it. Looked to myself, and she got it was reduced, I think, to a misdemeanor. She got a $100 fine and no jail. So she skated on that. You know what I mean? So nice try, Eric or Patrick, whoever turned her in. Yeah, she didn't get in no trouble for that, unless she got in something other. I don't know anything. BJ knew, so got to get rid of. Yeah. She's an obstacle. No, as of a week ago, she was. Yeah, I haven't looked her up for a while. I'm hoping she's doing well. Yeah, but yeah, I believe BJ was an obstacle. I think Patrick was the obstacle. I think Betty and Larry ended up to be the obstacle. I mean, between Eric and Timmy. And yeah, so all the obstacles had to be removed. You know what I mean?
Red, I think the only way Eric
Any
would have
cost.
to pay back would be a restitution, and it would have to be ordered, right? So I don't see him giving any money back without that.
I don't think there's any money left. I don't think there's a special account.
Not my monkeys says that there's probably no money left.
100% no, because yeah, he's trying to, he's doing these videos. I think I don't even know, because he's panicking, Eric. Then he's also making a little bit, but not enough to live off on his videos. Even if he gets 10,000 views, I mean, he's only going to get so much. I mean, and he's only done so many. So overall, it's not going to be like a job.
Donating, yeah, I don't see. He is not very likable right now. Eric is not very likable right now at all.
And probably for the first time ever, he's having a hard time convincing people to send him money. You know what I mean? I think it came easy before. He was slick. People believed him. I mean, and I think it's I think now it's, it's hard for anybody to want to donate to anything about him. But yeah, I just say be patient. I think his day is coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Anyone know if the dogs are still there? Yeah, I think so. I think somebody asked Patrick if the dogs are there. Patrick said, yeah, one came up the road the other day. Mm-hmm.
Betty wasn't able to take any of the dogs with her. I hope she took at least the little one.
I don't know. One of the little ones. Yeah. She had a couple little ones and a big one. Yeah, the little one that she carried for a while was actually Jason's dog. When he was in prison, she took care of it. I think she ended up keeping it. I don't know. They had 2 little ones. They get them mixed up. One of them that went in with the chickens, got the chickens or whatever. That's her favorite one, I think. So I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, Red. I don't know. I don't know if I hope she at least got to take one of her dogs. So so when you ask like, how do we know let me get to it. I'm just going to speak for me. So Red asked something about how do we know? How come nobody can't fathom that there possibly could have been very valid reasons why they weren't given back? That's my biggest question. Why why the family isn't together? Why that hasn't happened? Here's what I do know. For over 70 years they lived on a porch and they didn't bother
Mhm.
anybody. And that's where they should have been left.
All right.
That's all I know. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just scrolling through the questions too. No,
All
he
right, so
never met them.
I just found out that the dogs are still at the house, and unfortunately Betty couldn't take any with her.
Oh, that sucks. That dog, you could tell it was soothing to her. Whenever she got scared or nervous, she would pet the dog really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was like soothing to her. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick said that somebody asked, does Betty still live there? And Patrick said, yeah, kind of no, but kind of yeah, or something like that. So maybe she comes and visits. Maybe she visits the dogs. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And, maybe she's not
Okay,
really
so
so
Susan has an answer. Sorry, Susan has the answer for you, by the way. It's in the chat.
Yeah, I see
No.
that. No, never met them. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't know who the mystery man is. Patrick doesn't. Yeah.
No.
I didn't think so because it seemed like I think I remember Patrick saying he never met any of them.
They weren't working
So-
with him at all. They were working with Eric.
Right. And like I said, I mean, in a normal world where things are legit, if there was going to be any trip to Parisburg, Virginia, it should have been Eric, Patrick, Betty, and Larry. That's who should have gone. If there was, well, we know that the trip was just an excuse. But if there was a legitimate reason to go and try to talk to a builder, then of course it should have been Patrick, Eric, Betty, and Larry. That should have been who went, not Eric and a whole bunch of people we don't even know who they are. And coincidentally, these are all the same men, the same four men that are, in every one of Eric's shady money stories. Same players in every story. And that's why I think Dwayne dipped out and distanced himself because he thought, he started seeing. But yeah, you got Jeff, you got Mark, you got Robert. It's always the same people in every story. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think this was just another stop on
well,
the.
That would even make sense because let me tell you something. If you're doing something wrong, okay, let's say that I got you involved in something that was wrong.
Yep.
I would have that to hang over your head for the next time. And you would have it to hang over my head for the next time.
Yeah, but we would both have to
change that. Why would I change that?
But we'd have to both agree that we're breaking the law and it's okay because the rewards are worth it. I mean, because because you do something, you find out like, oh wait, I'm caught up in something. No, I just dip out. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know what I mean. So I mean, these guys aren't there because Eric might tell them for the last time. No, they're having a blast. You know what I mean? As you can see. I mean, look at the giddiness. Look at the giddiness when him and his friends and they were drinking and having a party. You know what I mean? And all expenses paid, and they're bragging about the cookies and the trip and the this and the that and how good this was. And I mean, they're eating good. I mean, like I said, living like rock stars, and that they're just on another stop. That's all. They're on a tour. You know what I mean? And yeah. So and it's the same band members. Let's put it that way. Eric's the lead singer, and the rest are band members. I mean, they're just traveling around doing their thing. I mean, and so there's no way that they're not all in it together because all doing it together because if anybody honest, if you see some shady stuff, you just don't go the next trip. You know what I mean? You don't go on any more trips because you saw some stuff you didn't like.
Right.
But no, they're there trip after trip and they're having a blast. And who knows the potential of the money, you know what I mean? And that's why Eric sold everybody so hard. But yeah, who's that mystery man? Because it never made sense. And none of them coming in from out of town made sense, but especially Eric's Robert Mass friend. You know what I mean? God knows who that is. And they had Timmy in that Airbnb with these strange men. Eric, four strange men.
That's a friggin' issue with him hugging on them. We saw that.
Yeah, and I showed a video where he said, "Oh man, they're having a good time. The deal's off. Eric thinks he's cut ties. He can go on to the next thing. So him and his friends are celebrating. They're like, yeah, man. I mean, first time, all my friends really loved Timmy. We had long hugs. I mean, they started out short at first. All my friends were, when they first met Timmy, they had short hugs, but the hugs got longer and longer. And at the end, they were really long hugs. Like, wait, what? And we never got introduced to these guys? What do you mean long hugs? What? Yeah. And I'm the weirdo? Yeah. No, and yeah, I'll just stop there. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
Go ahead, Kathy. I'm sorry. I agree with you about all of that because that was inappropriate. And, there were a lot of things and a lot of accusations, but that was something that kind of flew under the radar and not a lot of people said anything about it. And right away, I mean, your ears go up because why the hell is Timmy, who is probably not very good in situations like that to begin with because he's not used to meeting people. But now here he is with Eric, a guy that he's only known for how long? With a bunch of people
a week or two,
I'm sure.
A few weeks, yep. Top.
And now he's with them and a bunch of Amish men. That's kind of weird.
Right. And a bunch of people nobody even knows. And they won't even go on camera. You know what I mean? They said, oh, he don't want to go on camera. And the John's friend we didn't even get a first name or nothing out of John's friend. Yeah, and they're all sleeping there. Yeah, with Timmy. And yeah, doing long hugs and all this shit. Yeah, that should be looked into. But yeah,
I have a question. Here we go. This is from Kimberly. I have a question.
Yes.
Do you want me to read it?
I think I know that it's about, and I was going to say that earlier. And then I forgot what I was going to say. But you're going to say that if they were taken, because somebody said, why were they taken and never brought back if there wasn't a problem? Okay, then how come nobody's been arrested? I've said this 100 times. Eric said the abuse was the worst ever that you could ever imagine with all of them. Okay, then how come nobody's in jail? I just saw a case where somebody got like 700 years or something, hundreds of years for abusing people. And so how come nobody's even been arrested for any of this? And that would have happened right away.
Absolutely, on abuse. And not only that, but you don't leave the abuser in the house and take everybody else out. Why?
Right. You don't exactly. You don't take the exactly. And so, yeah, none of that made sense. And then just let her, whoever it is, go free and never even get arrested. But it's severe enough to not go home. That makes no sense. Yeah, is that what you're going to say? The question about why? Yeah, I've said that for a long time.
The question was, I'm just going to read it because she wrote it. I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you ladies know what the actual reason was why they were removed? I know all the false complaints, but my cousin, who is an APS worker, said there has to be an official reason written. I don't know what that is. I would assume it's ABUSE. And I think, you have three nonverbal people in there, and you had one that unfortunately was being trained to say that BJ was a bitch and that BJ hit him.
Mm.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what he said when he got there. Timmy, I'm talking about Timmy. I don't know what Timmy said, but if he said something like that, thinking that he was supposed to say that, then right then and there, I see
Right.
why everything was put to a halt and let them get to the bottom of
Right.
this. In the meantime, it's going to be hard to get to the bottom of it because you have three nonverbals.
Okay. Okay. Now this is interesting. Red said, and you know what? I've thought about this, but not very hard. But it is something to think about. I think it's very, very obvious the abuse was from one of the three done to the other three. You know what I mean? So Jimmy Ray and Lorraine gets taken away, right?
Yeah.
Nobody on the outside gets arrested. Maybe if one of those three was abusing the other two in some way, they would take them all, right? I mean, think
Say it
about
again.
this.
Wait, say that again.
Okay, this actually makes more sense. So Timmy, Ray, and Lorraine, this is like a riddle. If Timmy, Ray, and Lorraine gets taken out of the home and put somewhere, right? And
Right.
and but no, and because of severe abuse, but nobody in the household or nobody outside the three gets arrested. Well, she's saying it's obvious that one of those three had abused one of the other or two of the other. You know what I mean? So, and I think it's interesting. A clue would be that Ray was separated from the other two. Isn't that what happened? Like Timmy and Timmy and Lorraine were still together,
Yeah. Okay.
and
So
Ray
hang on.
Ray.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. So I'm gonna write to you in the private chat because I know something that we can't say, but I'm gonna write to you in the private chat because I know the
Text. Okay, text
text
me
it.
because
Okay.
I don't know how to do the private chat.
Okay. I'm gonna. All right. All right. Let me text you. But you can't repeat this.
Okay, I
Okay.
won't. I won't.
All right.
Yeah. It is interesting. So how come nobody from the outside ever got charged if it was so bad, right? So yeah. Uh, Tell me when you're set.
Yeah, I will. Hang on one second. Okay, I sent it to you. That's why he was separated, just so you know.
Okay. Okay. So Ray was separated for not because of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He was separated. He had some tests. I'm not going to go into detail, but I mean there were some medical tests he had. They're together now from my understanding. They were only separated because of medical reasons.
Okay. Okay. All right. So okay. So allegedly, Red said allegedly. Let's just say allegedly, Ray was doing something. I won't even
Yeah,
read
but
the
that's
rest.
not okay. So Red, I I just want to tell you I can't tell you what it is, but it was a medical reason that they were separated. They are together now. I've heard this from a few people. So I believe that they're together now. They weren't penalizing anybody. It was a medical issue that's why Ray
Right.
was separated from them.
Okay, so I hope they're all three together because at least it'd be a little bit of
I've
comfort.
heard that from like three different people. So I want to
I
believe that
mean,
because the three different
yeah.
people I don't even think are connected.
I mean, they're still missing half their family. They're missing, Betty, Larry, and PJ. So they're
Betty's
still
the
missing.
biggest one in my opinion because
Yeah,
she was
yeah,
such the caregiver. Now so
yeah.
many months have gone by. You'd like to think that they found their new normal because that's what they do, right? That's what people do. They find a new normal and such, but still, you know, it will be many lifetimes before that is ever filled, that void. They
Right.
were their whole world. They were their whole world, and not anymore.
Okay, so Susan says, so welcome back. She said the house, but it's more than the house, because if a family gets taken away, say little kids get taken away because of the house, they'll take them away and they'll tell the parents, get your shit together, clean your house, and if it's good enough, you'll get back. If that's the only problem, right? But somebody else said, okay, maybe it wasn't, any harsh treatment. Maybe it was neglect. If it's not abuse, so maybe it's a neglect. Well, then maybe, but and if it was neglect that was unintentional, then yeah, nobody would be arrested. That's the only thing I can think of. But that's not what Eric said. Eric said it was abuse, and it was. They said, well, how bad was it? He goes, oh, he's all dramatic. Oh, he doesn't want to say it. He goes, you guys, it was the worst you can ever imagine. Like, okay, then people should be in jail, and we should have heard all kinds of news stories about this. It just doesn't happen like that, and then they're just sitting at home, not getting arrested. I mean, it's not realistic. Jody says, I don't think there was any abuse happening. I think it was taken because the exploitation got out of control. And I actually, Jody Ann, that's the first thing that I said when everybody got taken. I was the first one and made the video, and I said, I think it's because of exploitation. And I laid out the guidelines. I showed what they said on the computer about, what are the definition of exploitation, and it was to the T. And I said, I think it was exploitation. And it's so funny because if you look up and find out what's the worst type of abuse, exploitation's actually on that list. And I thought, wow, how did that make the list? But anyway, so exploitation is like abuse or something. Yeah. So I mean, and then you'd say, okay, well, somebody did get arrested for that, right? So if the reason they were taken out of the house was because of exploitation, well, then you can't say nobody got arrested because Patrick got arrested for exploitation. And that could be why, A, they got removed from the home, and B, somebody was charged already for that. So that would kind of make sense too. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's over for Eric. I think he's gonna be way out worse off than Patrick when the dust clears. You know what I mean? Smoke clears, I should say.
Oh, I definitely think so. Jody Ann said yes, in West Virginia just passed more exploitation laws.
Actually, I saw that because I looked up West Virginia court or something. I was looking up something, and I saw that article. It said that just recently, this year, I think this happened. They passed stricter exploitation laws in West Virginia, and I don't know if it's because of this or what, but I didn't read the whole article, but I saw that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Listen, man, this is over 3 hours for me. Well past
All right.
my bedtime.
Yeah, and I'm shocked that you're still here because 3 hours is a long time, and it's probably a long time for everybody. So I'm going to wrap it up too. I think we covered everything, and it was fun having Susan up and talking to everybody in the chat. Y'all have excellent points and comments. I barely saw any of them because I was doing other things, and anyway, Betty was participating in it, not protecting. Yeah, and I think maybe that's why they Betty and Larry can't see the family, because they think, oh, they're going to sneak in the camera or go back and tell everybody about everything, or, you know what I mean? So maybe that's why you can't see them. Yeah, go to bed, old woman. Yeah, I know, right? Are you talking to me or her? I thought you were talking to me. It's not quite my bedtime, but I have kept Toddie up past her bedtime. So anyway, I want to say good night to everybody, and thank you for coming, and thank you for everything you guys do, and thank you for the money that was put into my future legal fund. Appreciate that. All right. So you want to say goodnight, everybody? Any last thoughts, Toddie?
No, I appreciate it. I think that there was a lot said. We'll stay on it.
Yeah, we'll stay on it. All right. So, well, good night, everybody. You want to say good night?
Good night. Thanks. I'll go.
Good night. Yep. Peace out.
All right.